Oh, I
Oh,
thought she said
Snickers.
Snickers. Like,
I thought,
I
yeah,
didn't like stickers.
I want a Snickers. Dana,
right?
bring me
That's what I was like.
Snickers.
I'll
I
take
wanted
a
a Snickers bar too, but I can't.
Yeah, I'll take one of those, man.
All right, we are currently live, by the way.
I see us. All right, so let me go
Do
ahead
you
and
want me to
share
run an
this.
intro or anything, or just
Yeah, we got to do an intro.
All right.
All right, hold
Let me
on.
know when you're ready
Come
for me to run an
join
intro.
us. All right, yeah, you got to tell people to come join us. All right, come on. All right, let's go live, man. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna run the intro, then we'll get started.
Thank you.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. Hello, everybody. This is a We the Middle edition of Dope and Dharma. That's right, We the Middle, where we talk politics. Why is it called We the Middle? Because we're in the middle. We're not left, right. We're not Crips. We're Bloods. We're not your mommy or your daddy. We're kind of right there in the middle. Although today we had to pick a side, right, Trinity? I'm the street certified dope, Dr. Louis Delgado. That's Trinity Phillips, the Dharma guy. And we got a couple of guests with us. Trinity, you want to say anything before we introduce these guests?
It's gonna be an interesting night.
It's gonna be an interesting night, Trinity.
It's gonna be an interesting night.
How can they watch us, view us, follow us, all that stuff?
Yeah, as always, man. If you're well, I was about to do the WOKB thing because I forgot that we're not doing
It's
just
Mondays.
local.
No, this isn't radio, so you can cuss today, Trinity.
Yeah. Right on. No, you can do so on right now. We're currently live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook under Dope and Dharma. If you want to catch it at your leisure, whenever you want afterwards. If you want to catch us on your leisure at any other time on podcasting, any of your major podcasting platforms, also under Dope and Dharma.
That's right. And what we did for you fellas and felines out there, because we're in the middle, we had to get at least representation from both sides, man. So we got a Republican and we got a Democrat, and y'all already know that Trinity and I, we go like this, depending on the issue. So first, let's introduce Scott Sturgill. Scott Sturgill was with us on our Monday show yesterday for WOKB. Thank you again for doing that, Scott. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
Scott
for having me.
Sturgill is one of the founders and principals at Churchill Strategy Group. So he's heavily involved in politics, knows politics. I've known Scott a very long time. He's been a good friend of mine for many years. Matter of fact, I think I went to an event with both of you at the same event for politicians back in the day. I think it was at the Harley Davidson over there off I-4.
Oh, yeah.
Both of you were present on that.
We met Jessica, the judge.
Yeah, Rexsider, right? Awesome. And then, of course, Dr. Neil Weider. Dr. Neil Weider is a chiropractor. Matter of fact, Trinity, not everybody knows this. I know it's going to sound a little weird, Trinity, and it might be a little bit too much to share.
Yeah, I already know this one. You already told me.
I went to a medical.
Many times.
I told everybody. I tell.
It meant a lot to him, Neil.
It meant a lot to me, Neil. You saved my life. I went to my doctor. My doctor said I was fine. Went up for my regular physical. People like we're supposed to do. Supposed to go get checked, right? They poke you, prod you, stick you, all that good stuff. And I went to it, and he said I was fine. I go to Neil for a typical chiropractic appointment, and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling right now. I started explaining what I'm feeling like, and he's going, it sounds like you got a hernia. I said, I don't know about all that now. I just got checked. He goes, do you want me to check? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking chiropractors don't check for hernias.
Well, it's not typically done in the bedroom, but I mean,
I would train like a medical doctor.
And even more awkward that it's your buddy. You know what I'm saying? But Dr. Neil Weider.
You guys are close now.
But I was in pain, Trinity, and I was vulnerable. And so I dropped trowel. The dude not only found one, he found two, and I ended up having three. I had two inguinals and an umbilical hernia, and thanks to Dr. Neil Weider, I'm all meshed up and I'm good now. So thank you very much, Neil.
And our relationship has never been the same since.
Never been the same ever since.
You're a lot closer now.
We're a lot closer, man. You know what I mean?
Much closer.
Yeah, I get flowers now instead of cards, things like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's a beautiful thing. So anyway, two great friends, Dr. Neil Weider and Scott Sturgill. Like I said, one's Democrat, one's Republican. And the reason we're having them on today is because, man, this is the day, man. This is, and if you're used to watching us doing other topics, this is about politics today. Today, we can talk politics. It's okay. Yeah. I know you guys, when you talk politics, and I did it today, people want to fight you, man. People get so mad. I got so many people angry at me just for saying, that's a little hateful. And they're like, you want a rapist and all this stuff. And they attack me. And it's like, no, I'm just saying that you're being hateful. But okay. But there's
why they just updated Florida and Vermont, by the way.
What does that mean?
Florida, they've updated right now with they said 52% reporting or 19% reporting. They're saying Trump is going to get 52% of the vote. So they're indirectly calling Florida, Kentucky, and Indiana at the moment for Trump, and they're calling Vermont essentially for Harris at the moment.
Okay, so let's get into that. Scott, is 52%? Is that enough to this early? Is that enough to say you're going to win?
Well, again, it's still early. I mean, the polls have only been closed for 4 minutes here in Florida, so sometimes when the media does these projections, it's a little too soon to do it. But I mean, Trump is expected to win Florida by somewhere between 8 and 12% tonight. So Florida's going to be a pretty an easy one. I don't even think the Harris campaign's was trying to count that one in their total here. But again, it's gonna be a long night at this point. I mean, I don't know that we're actually gonna know tonight. Either way, I think it's gonna be tomorrow at some point before we have a definite on anyone.
Right.
And so it's gonna be a long night. So again, we got a lot of chatting to do tonight.
Well, let's talk some of the issues and stuff. Now, Neil, you've gotten on me. You did to me what Trinity used to do to me after the. Here's what happened.
I have never checked your hernias.
No, not that part. Not that part. But if you want to check me for something else, Trinity, we can talk about it later. No. So 8 years ago, approximately, right? So I voted for Hillary, right? And I voted, and I got to be honest, it was all identity kind of politics stuff at the time. I voted for her because she was female. I voted for her because I really liked Bill. I made a lot of money during Bill, and I figured, why not? How cool would it be to have a female president? I'm a girl dad. I think it'd be cool to have a female president. Plus, how cool would it be to have Bill as like the other person? You know what I mean? Like the first man. I just thought that would be a cool story, right? So we lose, and I embrace Trump as our president, like I do. I'm a good military brat. Whoever wins, I have to respect the process, and I embrace him. Trinity at that time was bashing the dude like crazy, and was just bah, 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 bah. And so when I would just be like, man, that sounds kind of hateful, Trinity. I mean, and I would not defend him, but just like, kind of like give another thought or opinion. I got Trump socks. He gave me Trump socks. Him and his wife gave me Trump socks. They started calling me a Trumper. And I said, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not even a Republican. I said, but I just disagree with the hate towards the guy. I don't like people calling him an orange man. I didn't like the hate, right? So you, my friend, have done the same thing to me. You call me a Trumper all the time, Dr. Neil Weider. So I'm going to ask you, what constitutes for you a Trumper? What makes someone and why is that a bad thing? That sounds like a bad word when you say it, or when I say it.
It's not a bad word. It has to do with the attitude of and the person of the presence of the office.
Okay.
There's for years there's been certain expectations of the demeanor of the president of the United States.
Okay.
They don't make fun of handicapped people. They don't put down captured military people that were captured by the enemy. Okay, they don't knock women. They don't, Sheila, my wife, has 2 daughters. Okay, and I have 2 sisters. Okay, we don't talk about what we can do to them because we're famous. Okay, The other thing also is, I don't know any other president of the United States that's been arrested and convicted for 34 felonies. Okay. And for sexual abuse. Okay. I don't know anybody.
So that stuff bothers you. That stuff.
Well, it should. Okay.
I'm just asking.
34 felonies is a lot. You know what I mean?
It's basically like one, right?
Those were civil though. Too.
What are they? Can you name all 34? I mean, I'm sure you can. You name 5 of them?
The 34 has to do with the banking issues where they lied on their with the banking issues. Okay. So he got nailed for different things that had to do with banking up in New York. Okay. So those particular felonies, even if he's president of the United States, are not going to go away because those are state felony issues.
Okay, I got you.
Now, is he going to sit in jail if he's president? Hell no.
But you didn't like him before the felonies, to be honest.
Well, I grew up in New York. Okay. From since I'm a little kid, since 1954. So it tells you how long. I've been here 45 years, so I was there for 26 years. Okay, and there was stuff going on back then. He was money laundering for the Russians in the 1970s. It was in the newspapers all the time. My father was like a history buff, and he'd come home and he goes, "Hey, look at this. Okay, because all of us always just thought of Donald Trump as, as a celebrity, as a wealthy
He was
guy.
very popular until
Very
he
popular.
even went for presidency. I mean, he had a #1 show on NBC.
Well, he was also never racist until all of a sudden he ran for office.
Yeah, he was never considered a redneck until he went for office. I mean, he was just a New Yorker
he
like
was
you.
He never came out as being, a born again Christian until he ran for office.
Yeah.
Okay. He was never seen going into a church when I was growing up ever.
I believe that.
But one of the things that's kind of annoying to me, especially being Jewish, and it should be annoying to you to some degree, okay, is him embracing white nationalists and people that want to kill you and want to kill me and want to kill black people. Okay. All right. And that, and then when they had that thing that went on, okay, where the kid got killed.
Talking about Charlottesville.
Yeah. And he said, oh, there are nice people on both sides. That's pretty despicable.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something before, because you said that you're Jewish, and then I'll come to you, Scott. Because I have made the mistake one time in our relationship where I used the word Hitler in a conversation, and I remember this, and you taught me something. You said that name should never be used or compared to anybody else but Hitler, and you said that it was very personal to you because you're Jewish, that you should never identify anyone else as Hitler or ever use that lightly because of how painful that name is to you as a Jewish person. So I've never done it again, to be honest with you. Now, does it bother you equally that people constantly use the word Hitler on him when that kind of lowers the bar of what Hitler really was? He was a vicious killer of millions of people. Is it fair?
Recently, he just publicly stated that he wished that his new generals were more like Hitler's. That's a stupid thing to say.
You mean loyal?
And it's a disrespectful thing to say to anybody that's Jewish. Okay, and I have family members that were killed in the Holocaust.
Right. So you're okay with people comparing him to Hitler? You're okay with that?
No, it's not that I'm okay. Nobody should be comparing it. But if you open your mouth and you say something stupid, and you're automatically self-connecting yourself to that person.
But that's more recent because I haven't even heard that or seen that, so I have to listen to the audio. I can't really speak to that. I don't know if anyone else on the panel can speak to that. But what I'm saying is, are you okay? Because I got to be honest with you. If somebody really is reminiscent of a Hitler, then it should be okay to me to go shoot him in the head, and I should be considered a hero in the world for shooting him in the head. So to me, that kind of rhetoric is I know. Give me a second. That kind of rhetoric to me supersedes any other kind of comment that you can make to somebody, because that person is probably the most evil person that ever lived on this planet. And to me, it gives you an okay to shoot the guy. That's my issue, to be honest with you. And I'm not one that thinks video games inspire people, TV inspires people, movie people. I'm not one of these people. But when you use a word like Hitler, and people like you have taught me that, it's so painful that you should never compare anybody to that unless it's okay to kill that person. That's all I'm saying. I thought you would agree with that, actually. I thought for sure you would understand.
I didn't feel good about him almost getting shot in the ear.
Right.
Okay. All right. And to be honest with you, okay, and I've discussed this with law enforcement people. Okay. They said that if his ear got tipped by an AR-15, it would have split his ear apart, and he'd be deaf in his ear. Okay. And it would have been a big mess.
Also, you don't think he got shot in the ear?
No, I don't think. I think that was probably fragmented glass. But regardless, it's dangerous anyway.
It still came from a bullet. I mean, even if it's that, the guy tried to kill him.
Someone got killed. Okay, and I didn't feel good about that. I don't wish. Yeah. I don't wish death.
But if he's Hitler-esque, who cares? Kill him.
Well, but his rhetoric is reminiscent of Hitler and of Mussolini, and of people from past.
Okay. All right, I got you. Let's move on for a second. But I had to ask you that question because
the enemy within. Who do you think?
I got you. Have
you heard the enemy within?
The crazy leftists.
Yeah. There's a lot of enemies within. So Scott, these kind of things. Now you obviously support a guy that is controversial. This guy comes with, I'm not going to say baggage, but it's kind of like baggage, right? He comes with everybody has a story. Everybody has a thing. Now, I happen to have a lot of friends that know him personally, first bases. I have a lot of friends that know him personally. Some like him, some don't. But most of the people that I know that have been friends with him, they're friends with him and they like him. And they said they never witnessed anything racist. about the guy. Matter of fact, I can even say this. My black friends that are friends with Trump actually say he's not racist. In Trinity, you know who I'm talking about when I say our female friend that knows Trump doesn't like him because of the womanizing stuff and his things in the 80s and stuff like that. So how is it to support someone how do you get around that kind of conversation when that constantly comes up?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I've met the president a handful of times, and he's always been nothing but a nice gentleman, very respectful, ask a lot of questions. He's got this memory that just absolutely astonishes you how good his memory is. I mean, I don't think he has an aide whispering in his ear, and he'll remember your previous conversation, even if it's been 5-6 months. It's amazing. But again, he's always been respectful. You know, he's always supported law enforcement. Yeah, again, he's done a ton for the Jewish community. I mean, with Israel, with defending Israel, with moving the embassy to Jerusalem. You know, again, he's been the one who's always supported Israel. Again, if you want to look at who hasn't been a friend to Israel, it's been the Biden-Harris administration. Again, you know, when you had October 7th and last year and Israel was attacked, there should have been no question about we should have been supporting Israel. We should have been defending him. But again, we had the Biden-Harris administration that was, you know, almost kind of holding Israel at blame for getting attacked by Hamas. Hamas is, again, end of the day, they're a killer. They're a terrorist organization. They're a killer group. We should support Israel. Israel has always been our closest ally. Anytime we've gone to any conflict around the world, Israel is the first one to say, we're standing beside you. And again, so why why Dr. Wheeler, you know, and some folks on his side of the aisle, you know, are not supporting him? Again, I have no idea. Is Trump a perfect person? Does he say some outlandish things? Absolutely he does. But again, you know, end of the day, I look at results. You know, I don't really care about the rhetoric. I look at the results at the end of the day.
Scott, it seems like the Jewish community has always supported a Democrat, right? So is that something that you guys struggle with as Republicans to try to embrace it? You know how they keep talking about, look, I got all the 4 boxes, just like we're in 4 boxes. I got my YouTube TV with all the news, different channels right now. And it seems like they say a lot, oh, you know, Trump needs to get those black male votes, or, you know, Kamala needs those black male votes. But the Jewish vote has kind of always been blue, right? So how do you guys go for that? How do you change that?
Yeah, a majority of the Jewish population has always kind of, you know, favored the Democrat side. That's you know, again, you can see that from the numbers. You know, but Trump has been growing the Jewish population. You know, he's pulled a lot of Jewish folks from New York, from the Northeast, from all over the country, who are now getting more of a voice, who are speaking out and saying, hey, we support this guy. We may not agree with him 100%. I don't know any of us here on this panel who agree with each other 100% of the time. But, you know, it's that old Reagan rule. You know, if we can agree with each other 70, 80% of the time, we're still on the same team. So again, it's, you know, again, I think you're seeing more and more people just get more vocal with their political opinions, because, you know, for a long time, you know, people, you know, would announce their opinions. They would say, hey, I'm supporting Louis. And then all of a sudden they get lambasted. And again, we're seeing that on college campuses still. I was talking to my daughter today, and who's a freshman at UCF, and she was saying, you know, she didn't really want to talk politics with her suite mates, you know, at her dorm, because her and her one suite mate are Republicans and the others are Democrats. And they said, you know what, we just don't talk politics because, you know, we don't want to get lambasted. So again, I think you see a lot of people who just kind of keep their opinions to themselves. And I think that's what you're going to see with this election is there's a lot of people who are, you know, quietly voting, you know, because, you know, social media brings out the best and worst of people, right? You know, everyone's a warrior when they've got a keyboard, you know, you know, and they've got a screen and they, you know, they're not next to the person. So again, I think you're going to see a lot of people who, you know, come out. I think it's a very close race. Again, I think we're not going to know the numbers tonight. We're going to have an idea of where it's heading, but it's, you know, end of the day, it's a battle. And that's why you saw both campaigns battling it out for the last 3 days in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, because those are 3 key battleground states. You know, again, if those 3 weren't in play, they wouldn't have spent all their time, you know, there the last 3 days.
So one last thing on this, this goes to Dr. Weeder, and then we'll move on from this particular topic. But Dr. Weeder, why do you know why you said you grew up in New York? You know, you're a Jewish man. Like, why it's so predominantly Democrat? Like, what do the Democrats do for the Jewish population that maybe the Republicans need to be aware of, and maybe need to just be more cognizant of how to support that particular population?
Well, for example, the ultra-Orthodox community, which is made up of about 600,000 Jewish people. That's with the ones with the long
Yeah, yeah,
sideburns
yeah.
and the black
Mhm.
hats. They all support Trump. And it's
Oh.
interesting. One of our family friends still works for Trump. He's worked for him for like 35 years.
Mhm.
And he said it was the best employer he's ever had. And he
Mhm.
loves working for Trump. And so does most of the people that work for him. Okay. Unfortunately, the people that he hired when he became president became felons. And even though he said he was going to hire the best people. Okay.
Right.
You know, but to make a long story short, I just have to disagree with Scott. You know, right after October 7th happened, okay, Biden jumped right on it and told Israel that they were not alone. Okay. But he made a comment that was interesting. He just said, don't rush to do anything and don't be consumed by your anger. He tried to preface that so that, because right now where things are at with Israel, it's out of control. Now, I used to be married to an Israeli, okay, when I was right out of medical school, okay, and I learned from her brother who, and my ex-wife used to, you know, fight for the Israeli army, and they have a philosophy in the army. You kill one Israeli, we're going to kill 100 of you. But now it's out of control, okay, because now they're trying to squash an enemy that's embedded itself with his people, okay, and unfortunately, and it's terrible. You know, the amount of Palestinians, it's just so lopsided. It's awful. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you know, like even just the other day, the founder of Home Depot, who's who was okay a staunch Trump supporter, okay, spent a lot of money on the Jewish community. You know, I support my Jewish community locally. You know, we have for years, my wife and I. Okay, our father, who was a very wealthy man, owned 5 grocery stores in Illinois and Indiana. Okay, was a big supporter of Israel and that. Okay, as far as the Biden-Harris administration, okay, I mean, look at all the money that Israel's getting.
Right.
So, Scott,
Well,
when you say that, you know, Biden and Harris are not supporting Israel, that's inaccurate because the money keeps flowing. Okay?
Oh, well,
It hasn't stopped.
it is
Okay.
accurate. Threatened to withhold the missiles for the Iron Dome, and so that Israel can't defend itself. So when they're getting attacked by Iran and Hamas and Palestinians, you know, it is accurate to say that they are not, you know, threatening to hold, you know, missiles so that they can defend themselves. That is not.
That was just talk. It never happened because the money keeps flowing.
Well,
okay,
because Biden understood, even the Democrats in the Senate were not going to go with that, and he would lose the battle. So,
well,
you know, it was day, and then, you know, again, you were talking about the founder of Home Depot, like, you know,
right,
like,
but their withholding that has to do with trying to save Palestinian innocent lives.
I like that you understand that sometimes things are all talk, though, Dr. Weeder. I like that you admit that, because sometimes people talk smack. You know, like when he said lock her up, but he never went after her. But, you know, they did go after him. So all that that going after your enemies. But we'll get into that. Let me ask you one more thing about this thing, because you said about supporting Israel. How many hostages are still remaining, Dr. Weeder?
Supposedly there's 122 or 126. I personally think that most of them are dead already because of what's going on.
So if these were Americans, so let's flip it. If the United States had 120, let's say it's 100. If the United States had 100, people still in custody somewhere, or, you know, being held hostage somewhere, do you think that we would stop bombing that country?
No.
Okay.
No.
So why should they? So
we would have we would have Navy SEALs and Delta forces.
But that's the point, then, right? So I agree. War is ugly. War is bad. But it's not like they started it, right? Do you think the people that were at that music festival started it? Do you think that they were like?
No, they were kids.
Yeah,
they were teenagers and young adults.
Yeah,
like,
that's where I go back to on the whole thing. By the way, I don't go to the point where how many people are dying here. I go back to, like, listen, it's not like these people started. So the fact that we now want to judge them on how they defend themselves, that's on them. That's their business. That's their business.
It's really none of our
business, right? That's their business.
It's really none of our business.
Right.
Okay. But I will share this with you. Okay. When I was living in Israel,
our greatest
ally. 3
ally.
weeks. Okay.
100%.
Wait a minute. What was that, Scott? I'm sorry. What was that?
I said 100%. It is our business. Israel has always been our greatest ally, and we should be supporting that. And you know what? You know, hey, that's like you and me, Louis. You know, someone picks on you, I'm coming right behind you. Yo, I don't care if you're right or wrong. I'm standing with you, man.
I like that. I got to remember that.
Trinity tries to
I'm
pick on
gonna
you,
make
man.
sure you
I'm
guys
standing
go
with
out
you, buddy.
And you know what? America's
I
been
like that.
with you all
I like
the
that.
way. But the bottom line is when we got attacked, when Bin Laden attacked the towers, okay,
Right.
you didn't hear anybody telling us what to do.
Yeah.
We just went in and did it.
That's
now
right.
we did the wrong thing. We attacked in the wrong country.
Yeah.
Until they finally got Bin Laden.
Yeah,
Okay?
we were a little
You
rough.
didn't hear anybody saying, "Hey, don't do this," and we're going to stop this and all this. We went and did what we had to do.
Right. They probably did, but we didn't have their news on our TV channels, and we didn't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And
but they all watch CNN. They all watch Fox. They
then
all watch our news.
And the other thing I learned from being there was years ago. Okay, but it's still to this day. The Israelis don't release all of the news about what goes on. So, like when I was there was like maybe 6 missile attacks in Israel when I was there with my ex-wife.
Right.
Okay, but really that was all that was reported. But there really was 15.
Right.
Okay.
Well, in all fairness, though, I switch back and forth. Like I say, I got a multi-view to the news because in the United States today, Fox News will give you half information on this side, and then CNN will give you the other half on this side. The difference is CNN has like 50 other channels that they use, like ABC, NBC, CBS. All of them kind of give you this one view, and they'll act like when the whole country was burning, when the United States was burning in the Summer of Love, only one channel had it burning. I remember Trinity was sending me videos from back then it was Twitter. He was like, "Look what's happened." What was it? Reddit?
Reddit and Twitter back in the day.
Yeah,
both of them.
Trinity was sending me these things. I said, "Where are you getting this from, man? It's not happening like that." And he was like, "No,
You're
bro, look."
talking about with 9/11?
No, I'm talking about the Summer of Love. When
The mostly peaceful protesters when they were burning down the country.
all the person. There was a guy, and he became famous from it. There was a guy that he was like getting videos and putting them online, but all the news wasn't reporting that. So if I would have just stayed watching ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, all that, I wouldn't have got any of that information. The only channel reporting it was Fox. And here's what happens to an independent like me. I got to be honest, Neil. This bothers me. Constantly, everybody attacks Fox News, right? It's one channel versus like 50, and everybody attacks it. But all too often, something that I see on Fox News, like a year later, ends up coming true. It's like it ends up. So it's like, to me, it's like I joke with my wife because she's a foil hat wearing person, right? She thinks that all these radiations and but I can't argue with it because she's probably right. Only I'm on the side right now. It's because, oh, that's crazy. That's not true. That'll never happen. And then later on, we hear, oh, this causes cancer. She's always right, and it bothers me. Right? That's how I look at Fox News now. Fox News is right so often, but gets ridiculed all the way up until they get considered right, and they never get the apology ever.
Well, just back to Fox for a second.
Yeah.
Fox got their butt pinched when they ended up getting sued for like $400 some odd million, okay, for promoting the falsehoods about Trump losing the election. Okay, so that got real old real fast for them, and a lot of people got fired. Okay, for spewing.
And MSNBC never does stupid shit.
Well, yeah, but see,
but the reality is
anything conservatives do, they go to jail. Anything.
I haven't seen them lose a lot.
All legacy media is full of shit.
Dr. Weeder, you know that anything they do on Fox or anything a Republican does, they actually get prosecuted and go to jail. The Gestapo, I'm going to say Gestapo, not meaning anything, but the Gestapo does come out. The stormtroopers do come out and get you. But Democrats lied about the Hunter Biden thing. They lied
Russia
about
collusion.
mask, no mask, no mask. Vaccine is horrible. Oh no, now everybody should get a vaccine. But nobody calls them on it. Nobody goes to jail on that side because
Russia
Republicans
collusion.
don't put people in jail. Russians aren't cop callers. On the street, we'd call you a cop caller, right? Democrats are cop callers. Police, citizens arrest, and Republicans are like, they're like, they'll get mad at me, ladies, but they're like men. They talk smack, they punch in the mouth, and they walk away.
But I got to say this as a doctor. Okay, we never had any experience with the COVID until it hit us.
Do you call it a vaccine? Would you call it a vaccine?
What's that?
Would you call it? That Democrats did not want that vaccine initially. They said Trump is rushing it. It's not valid. It's not good. It should go through all this testing. You know that they did that.
Oh, to some degree,
And
sure.
initially,
You know what
Fauci said it's not airborne. You don't need a mask. You don't need any. He said that initially.
You know what I do know that very few people know? Okay, one of my patients was one of the heads of the district in China in Wuhan for Wells Fargo. Okay, and they already had known that there was an outbreak 6 months before the Chinese released it to America. Okay,
I'm glad you said Chinese. Hey, that's the first time I heard Democrats even blame Chinese. Thank you. We made an impact today on Dope and Dharma on We the Middle because you guys have been saying it's not China.
But it didn't come from some bat or some monkey. Okay,
exactly.
It came from the COVID Wuhan place.
It came from China. China. He said
they were working from their home in Wells Fargo 6 months before they released the information.
I believe you. No, I believe you. I just wish you would tell all your Democrat friends to blame China because, look, every movie we've ever seen that has an outbreak, they always look for patient zero. This is the only thing that ever happened that nobody ever talked about patient zero. It was Trump's fault. Never went after patient zero.
Fauci was playing it as it went along.
Fauci's a liar. Fauci's a liar. He's a fake. He should have done better, and he didn't do good. And you guys defended that dude. And you should not defend him. You should not defend him.
Better. Look, it took them years to figure out how to help people with AIDS. And then he finally figured it out.
But at least they were looking. Our issue with that was we were homophobic as a country. That was our issue with that. We're not germophobic.
Fauci was on the forefront of the AIDS pandemic, and he helped.
So was Bush. So was Bush.
Let's be real. Fauci's a career bureaucrat, and had he been a Republican spreading this and being
he'd be in jail right now.
He'd be in jail.
Yeah.
He'd be in jail.
The double standards are ridiculous.
Going back to your point earlier, Louis, where you're talking about, if it's a Republican, let's hold them their feet to the fire. If it's a Democrat, Democrats, honestly, they act like the Karens of the world. Hey, it's never their fault. It's always the Republicans' fault. Again,
my wife hates that.
Fauci was a Republican. Fauci would be in jail. He'd be indicted as well. So.
Well, how about hold on? Can we just talk about the big pink elephant in the room? At the
where are you going, Dharma guy?
Seems to be ignoring.
Tell us.
Like they talk about how he's going to do all these things that are anti-democratic, and yet I'm sorry. Last I checked, nobody voted for Kamala.
No,
they did it with Bernie, right? When they just instilled.
They knighted her.
They took away Bernie and gave Hillary because no, the machine went into action.
That's right.
And then when they supposedly told us that Biden was the man, he was the best and everything, when they couldn't hide it anymore, then they installed. Nobody voted for Kamala. They're going after Trump, their political opponent, all over the place, and yet he's the threat to democracy. That is why I cannot vote for her at all. It's insane to me that normal, rational.
So let's go to Scott on this. Scott, Trinity's saying some real good points. These are real valid points for us in the middle that see this. It's kind of ridiculous when you hear one side accuse another side of doing what they are actively doing. So why isn't the messaging on your side simply sticking to the point that they say he's a threat to democracy when they actually avoided democracy? They say he acts like a king when Biden actually knighted the next person in charge. They say it's greed, but they're the ones who actually pulled the money until Biden removed himself. They say Biden backed out gracefully when he was forced out and pissed off, and you haven't really seen him since. By the way, I haven't seen him on the trail.
Dude, the night before, he was on Twitter or X saying how he's going to stay steadfast. Or
that dude got ousted.
He got booted. The machine went into action.
Scott, how have you guys not been able to use that truth that we all witnessed?
Well, yeah, let's go back to it. I mean, it's end of the day. Again, I feel bad for Joe Biden because I feel bad that you should actually hold his family accountable because obviously there's something wrong with the guy. There's been something wrong with him for
forever.
A couple of years.
For 8 years.
He's not been physically with it. He's not been mentally with it, for the job. No one voted for Kamala Harris. In fact, when she ran in 2020, I think she got 2% of the vote before she bailed out.
Right.
So again,
nobody liked it for the last 2.5 years.
The Democrat voters should have had a choice as to who was going to be the nominee. The fact that the Democrat machine knighted her, they anointed her and said, she's going to be it no matter what you guys think. That should be enough to piss off every Democrat voter in the United States because your vote was thrown out.
I felt cheated.
You did not care. End of the day.
Cheated.
Well, I mean, end of the day, again.
That's because they cheated.
Yeah, end of the day, look, the machine that controls the money, that controls the votes, put her there. And so if she loses tonight, it's on them. It is not on the Democrat primary voters because, again, nobody voted for her. Nobody wanted her.
No, I should have been able to vote for Bernie Sanders. I should have been able to vote for somebody different right now. I should have been able to vote for RFK. Instead, if the machine doesn't like you, you can't even get on the ballot. You're not even allowed to even be a member of their party anymore.
I mean, look how bad that nobody in their party really agreed with her being the anointed one. They had to beg Tim Walz, who was at the bottom of the list of potential VP candidates.
Tampon Tim.
None of your other, really well-known Democrats, they didn't want to jump on this train wreck. They knew it was bad. They knew it was bad policy. They knew it was bad for the party. They didn't jump on it. Tim Walz was the only one who, when they said, "Hey, does anyone want to put this kid in?" He's the one.
Is that
like
a true statement? I don't know.
I have anything else to do.
I don't know. I don't know about the guy. Dr. Weeder, did you even know about this Walz guy before? I didn't know. I don't know. But I'm not a member of the party, so I didn't know who Walz is. Okay. I didn't know.
But he's not a bad guy.
No.
He's done a lot of good things for people in his state. Okay. And I've spoken.
And that's what counts for a state person. I mean, right? That's what counts.
Tremendous things to help children get fresh breakfast and lunch in all of the schools. Okay. He helped kids in his own high school in the LGBTQ movement when nobody else would do it. Okay. He was a football coach. Who doesn't love a football coach?
I'll tell you what he wasn't, Dr. Weeder. He did not retire as a command sergeant major. That was BS because my dad's a retired command sergeant major. You got to go to the Sergeant Major's Academy and spend 2 years as a sergeant major.
He wasn't there for Tiananmen Square either.
Major, and he didn't do it.
I don't know anything about his military, but
I do because that threw my dad over the edge. Because my dad's a true retired command sergeant major.
And thank you, Dad.
And thank you, Dad, for his service because he's another one of those great generation members.
Right. Let me ask you on this. Look, so Neil, like, the empathy that your party has always had is what I've always loved about the Democratic Party. To be honest with you, I think that I used to explain that I was socially liberal and fiscally conservative. That used to be the way I would explain it, and I still believe I am that. To be honest with you.
Which is a good balance.
It's a great balance, I think. But in today's world, I struggle. I struggle with a lot of the things that your party is doing, even socially. It's like, as a Latino, we're not heard. It's been a white-black issue for a while. It's just white-black. Like we get thrown in as and brown. But it's all about it's either a sexual identification or gender identification or blackness, and even that, black dudes are leaving the party. So what is happening in the party from your perspective? And this is just what's happening. Are you happy? I know a lot of Republicans are not happy with Trump being the face of their party. Are there a lot of Democrats that can honestly say, I'm not really happy in the direction we're going?
Listen, I'm not happy about the comedian that said that people from Puerto Rico.
He's an idiot. That dude's an idiot.
What does that have to do with your party, bro? Come on, man. Just answer the question.
You're asking me about. You're talking about the Latino community, and I'm bringing up the Latino community. That was
you brought up what a comedian said. He's asking you if you like the Democratic Party, where it's going.
But also, if you know Donald Trump and you know people that work.
Can you mention anything about the Democratic Party without saying the word Trump?
Donald,
is that even possible?
Donald knows everything that.
No, you can't. Can you?
All right. Look, in all fairness, Doc, he's right. I mean, are you happy? Are you 100% happy with the direction that your party's going?
Well, for two things. Okay. Yes, in the fact that we need to do something about the price of food. Okay, we need to do something.
You made it expensive. You got to admit that, bro.
He didn't make anything expensive. You know what's happening?
No, the party. I don't think he did anything. By the way, time out. I don't think Biden did anything. I don't think he's been our president. I don't know who our president is, but it sure ain't that dude.
My father-in-law, may he rest in peace. Okay, right. He was watching the prices rise, and he said his colleagues were gouging the crap out of people. Okay.
Oh, you believe the price gouging stuff?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. It's one of the things that Kamala Harris was
believe that
is a part of her perspective.
No, I've heard her say that, but as a business owner, and you've been a business owner, are you gouging people when you sell products? No, you're charging more because it's costing you more.
Right, but most food hasn't gone up that much, other than what they're charging. The only thing that went up was gas, and that drove up prices of food.
I lost 23% in any revenue over the last 3.5 years. 23% more in paying people. I've had to pay people 23% more just to keep staff.
Well, and let's think about what drove up the gas prices. You drove up the gas prices when you stopped drilling here.
Day one.
In day one, we're not energy independent. Instead, we're buying gas and buying oil from the Middle East. So you're supporting terrorists. You're supporting Hamas with those terrorism dollars, with the oil and gas money. And again, you made the cost everything much more expensive.
And wasn't the Russian pipeline opened up day one?
Yeah. You had the pipeline.
And ours closed?
You had a whole industry that was just put out of business in South Dakota on day one of Biden's administration by executive order, by killing the Keystone pipeline. End of the day, gas prices are up. I mean, we're all paying, I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to the gas pump, I feel like I got robbed. Because
I drive my wife's EV, so
$3 a gallon. And right now, we're happy with $3 a gallon.
What's turning in that little electric car?
In 2020,
free gas, baby.
I was just in Chicago. It was $4.15.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Chicago. We're talking about here in Florida also. But as a nation, in 2020, we were paying less than $2 a gallon. Now
that's because of the pandemic. It's not because of the president of the United States.
Now, we were drilling here.
Nobody was traveling. Nobody was traveling, and the oil industry was getting.
That was before the pandemic. No, it was already low. It was already low because of the pandemic.
You already had energy independence here, Doc. So to make that key statement is it absolutely wrong, and you know that. But you're
I don't know that. That's what
you're going to stick to the points. We got that. We understand where you're going with this. You're doing the Democrat talking points. That's cool, but we're good with that. But again, you have to have energy independence. You have to have the right to provide jobs here, because that makes the food cost. So if it's cheaper for the farmer to fill their tanks, to put gas in their combines, it's cheaper to get it to the stores. It makes it all less expensive. And again, we're not relying on foreign countries and people who actually hate us. So our energy independence.
So am I hearing? I just want to get, because this is a big point for everybody. I think our money. To be honest with you, that's how I voted this election. My vote came down to my money. I got to be honest. Social issues. I mean, I hear you, Weeder. I wish that the president was like a beacon of moral goodness, because I think we all know that I was not my moral compass came from Dana, not from myself. So thanks to Dana, I have a moral compass. Not that my parents didn't do well. I just was the black sheep of the family, and I just try to go different. And then Dana brought me back to a true north, right? But I do remember we had a president called John F. Kennedy who cheated on his wife with a Hollywood star, and then the Hollywood star got killed or died. It wasn't that wasn't really a negative scandal.
Did his brother kill a girl on a bridge?
Yeah, Chappaquiddick was a real thing, and that guy stayed in office forever. So I'm not used to, and Clinton, I love Clinton, but look, we know what Clinton did. So I'm not used to looking at presidents like a beacon of morality. I think they're all kind of like dirty, right? Since when are they a beacon of morality? Weeder.
None of them are. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a ladies' man. Okay, JFK's brother was. The two of them were screwing around with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Okay, and then apparently they were there. Okay, or one of the brothers was there when she was.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So why now? So why now? Why now is that like a thing? How is it that we're lying to these kids and acting like that's a big deal?
You know why? They were a hell of a lot smarter than Donald Trump was. They kept their mouths shut and they didn't brag about it and get filmed or recorded. That's stupid stuff.
Yeah, okay? Well, he did get recorded.
They brag about screwing Marilyn Monroe.
But it's also a different time in the media too. Now you didn't have 24/7 media coverage.
Microphones everywhere.
You didn't have microphones everywhere. You didn't have everyone with a smartphone recording and putting it on their Twitter or their accounts. You had a newspaper that came out in the morning or at the night. Every day. Right. So again, it was just, again, it was a different time in the media too. The media.
That's true.
There's an old saying: if you cheat on your wife, you don't even tell your best friend. You know what I mean?
Trinity, don't tell me, Trinity.
I'm not cheating on my wife. So we're good.
No, Trinity's got an honest face.
So all right. So morality. So money is on everybody's mind. Dr. Weeder, are you saying that your party has no responsibility in the high cost of living these last 3.5 years? Is that what you're saying?
Everybody does. Okay.
I know, but doesn't the presidency get the blame no matter, even if because this is normal, right? Isn't it normal that like whoever comes in really benefits whoever did it before? Like, didn't everybody say that Obama had some things in motion and Trump got the credit for it? Isn't that what we heard?
Well, but also look at the mess that Bush left Obama. Okay, he left.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Obama did bad. I'm saying he got.
But the reality, like I'll give you, I'm going to agree with you on one hand.
Okay.
Not too long ago, Biden released a bunch of gas from the United States, and all of a sudden, the prices went down. They haven't done that lately. We have more gasoline in the United States than anybody in the world.
So
we have enough gasoline so that it should be $1.72.
All right. So would you agree this, Dr. Weeder? Don't you agree that you guys are a bunch of wimps when it comes to the real crazies in your party? Wouldn't you?
Yes.
I mean, because there's crazies on the Republican right, but I don't see them bowing down to them. You guys are bowing down to your craziest factions.
That's how I voted, by the way.
Tell me, what do you mean?
Unfortunately, back to the money thing. Okay. Recently, over 300 economists say that if Trump implements his tariffs and the plans that he wants to do, okay, we're going to have the worst recession, okay, and the stock market's going to be in the tank.
Yeah, but the sky's always falling. But we have 4 years of him. We know what there's proof has already been said. See, so the sky's falling doesn't work with Trump.
He wants to get rid of income tax, and he thinks that tariffs are going to replace it. It's not going to happen. And who's going to get hit with tariffs? We are.
Here's what I'm used to.
If you put more tariffs on the foreign countries that we have to buy from, okay, who do you think pays for the tariffs? We do.
I know. Here's what I'm used to, though. No, I hear you. And that's a valid point, and that's something that needs to be unpacked a little bit further. And I'm sure it will. But let me say something. Let me say. I've been on a lot of boards, and I know that you guys have too, right? We sit on boards. We sit in committees, and sometimes something sounds crazy. Sometimes somebody in there says something. We're like, that's never going to work. And then it does. We do it, and it just does. Sometimes things don't really sound. At least with Trump, we had 4 years, man. And you got to admit that if you can't use the numbers that the negative that happened with the pandemic, you couldn't say anything about jobs and economy and how things were going.
Trump also left us with a large deficit, larger than anybody else before.
No, that was the pandemic. See, we can't use the pandemic when we want to and not use it when we don't want to.
Yeah,
the pandemic did that. That did it to the world.
Pandemic.
It's like, bro, Dr. Weeder, how is it that we allow our history books to say that Biden brought jobs? I brought jobs. I hired more people than Biden. Biden didn't hire nobody. People like me took a risk, stayed in business through the pandemic, hired people and paid people through the pandemic, and that guy gets credit for creating jobs? No. The entrepreneurs and the middle-class business owners of the world kept this country afloat through the pandemic and after the pandemic, and that guy gets credit for it. I don't like that at all.
Do you support unions?
I actually do support unions in a lot of ways. Remember, I had a treatment center, Trinity. What did I do at the treatment center that I owned, by the way? I'm an owner at the treatment center. What did I do, Trinity?
you unionized it, and who told you it probably wasn't a good
against
idea?
myself.
And how did that turn out?
How did that turn out?
It didn't go good.
Yeah, and I told you ahead of time it probably because I was part of a union for 11 years.
Yeah,
so.
But I'm an idealist, brother. I'm an idealist, and I'm willing to be wrong. I actually, I believed in it, and I unionized my own workers against my own company, Dr. Weeder. So yeah, I believe in it, man. I just don't.
Geniuses are born every hour on this show.
What was that?
Geniuses are born every hour on this show.
Well, we've already talked about two things that I did that are ridiculous, right? Yeah, I'm not immune to it, Scott. So on the money issue, Scott, how is it that you guys can't here? Let me go to the messaging. Your problem in your party is your messaging. Your key messenger is Trump, and even though this guy, to a guy's guy, I gotta admit, to us, to most men, we all get it, we all snicker, we all laugh, and we kind of understand what he's saying. But to the female population, it doesn't sound as is the same that it does to our ear, especially the new generation of females. When he says something, especially when he calls Kamala stupid, even though I agree, I do think she's stupid, but I don't think you gain any points by going on in public as a political figure and using the word stupid, because it sounds like an abusive man. And it starts ringing, it starts reminding women of the men that they may have had issues with in their past. Don't you think? So messaging is an issue. Do you think that your party has issues with messaging?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, messaging has always been an issue with Trump because, again, trying to keep him on point to stay to the top issues, right? Protect the border, energy independence, fix the economy. Those are the three issues that 99% of voters on both sides of the aisle care about. Again, Trump, when he does his locker room talk,
right,
it's not appropriate. And again, you want someone to be a statesman, you want him to act like and right things. Now, I know plenty of women on both sides of the aisle. I know plenty of Republican women who say, you know what, his talk doesn't bother me. It's just,
Yeah, I know a lot of women who say the same.
Yeah.
Like we can argue all day long that it's not
Yeah.
that it's not good and it's everything else, but he won the presidency once, and he might win to get he's doing something right.
And I know on the other side who say, you know what, some of them on the Democrat side say, hey, I'm offended, and some say, you know what, I don't care. They don't really care. It's just, those who want to be offended are going to be offended no matter what he says. Right? Do I agree with the name calling of what he does to Kamala? No, I don't think it's appropriate.
But he never pivots, Scott. There's that word pivot, like they said on Friends, pivot. He never pivots. Like when he knows that it's going in a bad direction, that he is feeding CNN and MSNBC and all the news channels stuff. He won't, like Dr. Weeder brought up a great point earlier. We may or may not agree on that people should have been upset about the Puerto Rican humor that dude said. That dude to me was an idiot. I am half Puerto Rican, half Mexican. I thought he was stupid, but whatever. Whoever hired him should be fired. However, Trump he didn't just come out and he can't just come out and say the dude was an idiot. Whoever hired him, I fired him too. Instead of doing that, he just goes on to something else.
Look, let's be real. Trump is a master of PR. He understands PR. If you look at 2016, he understood if he said something outlandish, build the wall, I'm going to make Mexico pay for it. He understood he was going to get the marketing hits. He was going to get the PR hits. Right. When Trump first got in the campaign in 2016, he had a 90% name ID, which is unheard of in anyone in politics.
No.
Then in 90 days, he was at 100% name ID. So he understands the marketing cycles, and you guys understand marketing cycles when it comes to social media.
Right.
He said something outlandish, right? And for the next 48 to 72 hours,
right,
CNN, Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, all these, they were all going to say, can you believe what Trump said? So he would see these spikes in his social media hits, right? And then as it started to come down, he would say something again, right? And it was, again, he understands getting free name ID. He understands how to control and manipulate the media. And you know what?
He's good at it.
And he's doing the same thing. Now, do I think that the guy, the Puerto Rico joke, I think it was the most horrible joke ever. And you're right, the comedian should have been fired, and whoever hired him should have been fired as well.
It was in New York. It was in New York, Puerto Rico. That's basically big, gigantic Puerto Rico.
And it's the voter base that he knows he has a potential to win.
But he wasn't talking about the people, though. That's the thing that bothers me. He was talking about the actual island. But
Trinity, nobody likes to hear bad things about the island.
Bad joke, ill time.
I'm not saying it was the best joke, but what I don't like is it seems like reading comprehension is just not what it used to be. People hear something and then they think their interpretation is now all of a sudden factual, and it's just not true.
You guys have been to a Trump rally, which I've been to several.
I've never been to one.
I have not been to one, no.
I should have gone to one, though, because we're never going to have another one. I think
that would have been an interesting visit. I haven't been to one,
yeah,
but I think it'd be an interesting time, though.
Assuming he wins tonight, you can expect that he's going to have his rallies, as president, just like he did when he was president. He still held his.
Okay.
But he plays to that crowd. But his base is red meat. They want to hear that stuff. They're not coming to hear him be politically correct. They're hearing it.
That's true. I think that's why he didn't apologize, Scott. I think he can't ever apologize for stuff because, again, I think the crazies on his side will never respect him the same if he ever apologized. So he can't apologize.
Look what we're doing right now, Louis. We're giving him name ID right now, but we're also talking about the good things that he accomplished during his presidency. Again, energy independence. Getting portions of the southern border wall built.
Right.
You know, making sure that the economy was good. And you're right, Dr. Wilder. Economic cycles run. So each president takes credit for some of what their predecessor
Right.
put in place. That is
Right.
absolutely correct. But if you're going to take the top job, you also have to take the hits,
Yeah.
along with wins, right?
Yeah.
But you haven't done watch, and you know what? Can't just say, "Hey, it's not my fault. It was Trump's." You know what? You chose to be president. The buck stops with you.
Right. So new issue. Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, just to jump in,
Uh-huh.
for somebody just texted me and told me. Right now, just so we're up to date, Florida is saying 79% is reporting. It's got Trump winning 54 to 44%.
Surprise.
Georgia is 20% reporting, and it's got Donald Trump at 59% with Kamala at 39%. South Carolina's got 10% reporting. Donald is at 60%. Kamala's at 38%. North Carolina has got 3% reporting, so basically nothing. Kamala's at 68% and Donald is at 30%. Virginia is 20% reporting. Kamala's at 53%. Donald's at 44%. West Virginia, it's got Donald 7% reporting. It's got Donald Trump at 56%. Kentucky's got 34% reporting. It's got Donald at 64%. Indiana's got 24% reporting. It's got Donald Trump at 64%. Ohio is at 7% reporting. It's got Donald Trump at 55%. And then the last two is Vermont. It's got 18% reporting. It's got Kamala at 69%. Wow. And then New Hampshire's got 12% reporting. It's got Kamala at 54%. Those are the latest.
Are
numbers.
any of those a surprise, Scott? Any of those swing states?
No, none of those are a surprise yet.
No.
And it's still early. I mean,
Still
the highest one I think was like 20% reporting.
So let's go to the abortion issue, because I think that's.
I've got a victory
Yeah.
party.
One more question, Scott, because this is an important thing for you guys.
Right.
This abortion. Why didn't you guys use a female on the road talking about abortion in a common sense kind of way when you knew that meant so much to so many people?
Are we talking about the national issue? Talking about
the national.
Yeah. Again, it's. I think if you add, I'm 100% pro-life. Like a majority of folks are.
Right.
I think that should be that. There should be some. With the exceptions of rape, incest, health.
Right.
There should be some equal balance. I think here in Florida we do it at 6 weeks, which I don't think is. I think is too soon. I think we had it right before at 15 weeks here in the state of Florida.
Right.
Again, with the exception of mother's health. Again, I'm not a believer. I don't think our tax dollars should be used to pay for abortions. If someone wants to go for abortion, there's plenty of other states to go get it. But again, we talk about these issues. We talk about abortion. We talk about marriage. Again, those are issues that are for people. Those are issues that someone's kept in their bedrooms, kept in their own house. Right? Again, impacting everyone every day.
You're breaking up, Scott.
Yeah, you're
your
breaking up
audio's
a little
terrible.
bit. But so is it true, Scott? And your audio is breaking up, and I know you got a party to go to. Is it true that if Trump wins, abortions will be illegal around the country? Because that's the kind of way that they're positioning.
That's rhetoric from the other side. That's just
Okay.
to get everyone roused up.
Okay.
Again, it's you still have states' rights, right? Each state is going to decide, just like they do right now.
Okay.
To decide what can occur and can't occur in their own state. So
Okay.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah. Thanks. Is
Always
Chitwood
great to see
winning?
you.
Is Chitwood going to win?
Oh, he's going to win big time tonight.
All right. You tell
Bush.
Chitwood we love him from Dope and Dharma. We
I
love
will
him.
do it.
If he doesn't remember who I am, you tell him we're the guys that bought him those the drug take back boxes. The Now Matters More Foundation bought him the drug take back boxes. All of Volusia
You got
County.
it. You got it. I'll text you a picture, buddy.
Tell Mike thank you.
Take
I
care,
appreciate
All right,
Scott.
thanks, guys. Take care,
See you,
guys.
Scott.
Yeah, man.
See you, Scott. All right, so it's us three. All right, so thank you.
So can I speak about the abortion issue from?
Yeah,
another-
please, because it's such an important issue, and so many people, are chiming in about it, right? And everybody has an opinion on it.
I personally never, and even to this day, promote abortion for anybody. Okay. However, there are times when a woman's health is at risk,
Right.
such as an ectopic pregnancy, a stillbirth,
Right.
okay, a severely deformed baby that's not going to be able to exist on its own and it's going to be basically brain dead. Okay. these are, or rape and incest. Okay. No 10-year-old child should be forced to have to give birth to a child from a rapist or from a father or a stepfather or a cousin that raped them. Okay. But now women are losing their lives because they're being turned away from certain hospitals, especially like in Texas. Okay. Where they have a stillborn or they have an ectopic pregnancy and they turn them away. Okay. And then they start bleeding out in their car or in the Target parking lot. And some of them have died already.
Yeah, no, those stories. Look, those stories, Dr. Weeder. I don't think anybody thinks those stories are good. They're all horrible. I think percentage-wise, I don't know about you guys. I'm going to only speak for myself for a second. I don't know personally anyone who has had to have an abortion. I've known a lot of people who lost their babies. I know a lot of people who had miscarriages. I know a lot of people who had abortions, but I don't know anyone that had an abortion due to a medical complication or an incest or a rape thing. I don't know any of those. So percentage-wise, I think it's a little disingenuous to use that stuff to create an overall look. I think there's a common sense approach to this. I like that terminology with this, but I think whenever we say there's a common sense approach, I think just like me saying independent, all of a sudden I get attacked for being a Trumper just because I say I'm independent. I feel like when you say a common sense approach to this, somehow gives people the right to say you must be anti-abortion. No, I just think there's a common sense approach to this topic, to this conversation. Here's my issue with it, Dr. Weeder. I think that you guys are more right on this issue generally than the other side. I think you have a lot of weight on this issue, and it could be a real victory for you, this issue. However, I'm not so sure your side wants to really deal with the issue, because ever since I was a baby, it seems like we've been talking about this every election cycle. It seems like abortion has been on the conversation, just like they're going to take away your Social Security has always been a conversation every election. And I've never seen our Social Security go away, and I've never seen this mass anti-abortion thing. Now, I do believe there should be a common sense approach to it. Don't you think that this is something that a politician could easily cross the aisle and kind of fix this once and for all at the federal level and make it a law a certain way, or no?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. For example, 30% of women by the age of 45 have had D&Cs. Okay.
What's that? What's a D&C?
D&C is a scraping, which is a form of an abortion. Okay. All right. That's how they'll insert saline solution and then they'll scrape whatever's growing inside the womb.
Out of that, how many of them was it due to incest or rape?
There's not very many statistics on that. Okay. For example, in 2023, there were an estimated 1,037,000 abortions across the nation without the ban. Okay. That's a lot of women. Now, those women are not going to be able to do it. So, for example, if you have a woman who has a stillbirth, okay, in Florida,
right,
you can't go to the hospital and get rid of the baby. They'll turn her away until she starts hemorrhaging. God forbid it's one of our
today.
kids.
You mean today?
Today,
right now?
Yeah, today. God forbid it. I don't wish it on anybody.
I don't know enough about the issue to know. I'm going to have to take your word for it.
Yeah, one of our daughters had a stillbirth. They had to get a D&C. Mm-hmm. The baby was born dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But if it would happen, and that's in Florida, if it happens today, she'd get turned away. She'd have to go out of state, or she'd have to wait until she's hemorrhaging and risk her life.
Okay. By the way, I didn't understand that Fourth Amendment at all on the Florida. Since we're all Floridians here, can we all can you give me an understanding of what Amendment 4 was really saying?
Basically, it reinstills the ability for a woman and a doctor to make decisions about her health.
Yes, reinstills that, or no reinstills that?
No, it allows it to happen.
So we were supposed to say yes?
Without restriction.
We were supposed to say yes?
If you need an abortion, you get an abortion.
So we were supposed to say yes is what I'm saying, right?
If you believe...
If I believe that, if I believe what you just said.
If you believe in protecting your daughters, yes.
Well, don't say protecting my daughters, because protecting my daughters is educating them to hopefully not get pregnant in the first place.
Thank you.
And I can't.
It has nothing to do with being pregnant. It has to do with if they get pregnant on purpose and they have a.
Well, but that's why I think the two things need to kind of be separated a little bit. That's where I have the issue.
But you can't separate it.
No, we can separate. No, we separate a lot of laws.
If a family is planning to have children,
Waiter,
it's not uncommon for people to plan children, and they unfortunately are stillbirths.
Doctor Weeder, you know there's people walking around like Motley
they're
Crue, the Motley Crue singer killed somebody, and he's walking around because it wasn't considered the same kind of murder as him walking up to somebody and shooting him in the head. So you can separate different types of killing. You can kill because it needs to be killed, or you can kill because you choose to kill. Well, kill is kill.
We're talking about,
but it is a kill.
Okay, listen. The average woman, okay, 30% of them lose their first baby with planned pregnancies.
Right.
That's a lot.
It's a horrible. It's a lot. Like I said, I know a lot of women that have lost. It's a horrible thing. It's sad, especially
Florida,
with people that I know and they wanted to have a baby and they can't. It's really sad. Look, there's a lot of sadness.
Florida and Texas and 9 other states, they're gonna be dying, or they're gonna have to run somewhere else to get the DNC or to get it.
But I think we're able to. This is where I think we can separate. I think we should be able to separate a rape. I think we should be able to separate incest. We should be able to separate medical necessity. But we got to be careful with medical necessity because you and I both know the pill mills, those were doctors. The pill mills were doctors.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I don't trust all doctors just because they're doctors. I don't trust their ass. I hire and fire doctors. You know that. So you know, I'm not going to trust them all. But I think there needs to be different language for just, I just don't want. I think that's a different conversation. I think
that I agree with. If you're 20 years old and you're dating somebody, okay, seriously, okay, and it just so happened he didn't have a condom on you, then you need to pay the piper.
But that's where we need to be. It's just like when we have on Amendment 3, when we're talking about marijuana, I'm okay with it becoming socially legal and all that stuff, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't have a conversation about, hey, but it's probably not good for you. It's probably not great, especially if you're a teenager, especially if your brain is still developing. What I take issue is that when it has to be black or white. No, there's so many different ways to have conversations about this where we can all agree, because if we apply common sense rather than political party lines, we will actually get somewhere. It's like we can't get anywhere because we're too dead on our it's dead on arrival.
Right, but it's like what Scott Sturgill just said. Okay, he's 100% pro-life, so that means there's no room. There's no room in his playbook for abortion. For any reason,
faith-wise, but politically, those same people that faith-wise, they're gonna be a certain way faith-wise. I still think you can bring them to the table and help them understand.
Well, he did say before he got off that he believes exceptions for rape, incest, and
exactly.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Right. He did, but
that's the agreement. Then somebody write that down. It's like we got to get bullet points and say, somebody write that down. Somebody write that down. Somebody write that and make it a federal law.
In 6 weeks, most women don't know that they're pregnant until 8 weeks and sometimes 3 months.
He even said 6 weeks was too soon, which I agree. 6 weeks is too
soon. I agree 100%.
Yeah, but that's the point.
The problem is, depending upon which side of the aisle you're on and which game you're playing.
That's what drives me nuts, Doc. That's what drives me nuts.
Okay, it's like if you want to get this voting block in, you got to say this.
What drives me nuts is it seems like I don't. You and I've talked about it before on shows.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Me? Yeah.
The thing that irritates me the most is I don't like this concept of our right to choose and everything, as if your right to choose only happens, after you're pregnant. Yeah. Like it pisses me off to like, because we just completely ignore the fact of what do you think happens? There's only one way to create a baby. Yeah. You have to fertilize an egg, people. Like, my daughter now is 15 years old, and you know what? She's made it 15 years without getting pregnant, right? Like, it can, like, this concept that your choice only starts after you've already laid down and had sex with somebody unprotected is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And it bothers me that we can't admit that. Like, there's these political arguments happen, and they all want to just ignore the idea that consequences happen, people.
Yes.
If you don't like the consequence, maybe you shouldn't sleep around with people.
I would have been in prison for the rest of my life if I'd have went down, if the bullet would not have, if it would have done something different. If that person would have died instead of just been injured, instead of getting attempted murder on me and then getting off on that, it would have been murder, and I would have never saw the light of day, and I would be a totally different person today. It wasn't, but the same action. The gunshot was the gunshot. And I'm not the shooter, people, so don't come hate at me. I wasn't the shooter. But in the state of Texas, when you're right next to the shooter and you're on the same team and you went there,
It's called capital murder.
It's still murder. And I would have still went down for that case. Now, what I'm saying is that's still the action. The action that I learned was you don't go to that kind of situation with a weapon.
Yeah.
You just don't go. You do with another one of my friends did, and he's probably going to watch this. He may not be watching right now, but he will, I'm sure. And he was hiding somewhere different. He was across the street, and he didn't get picked up. I got picked up because I was there. I was in the fight. I was fisticuffs. I was trying to grab one of them bats from them and try to hit him over the head with it when the shots rang out. What I'm saying is it's no different than that. If you have sex, you can't get pregnant. If you shoot a gun, they can die. It doesn't matter with, I didn't mean to. It's what happens. So this conversation becomes difficult for multiple reasons. One, because of people's faith and belief systems. I don't fault them for that. They're allowed to have them. And there's a lot of people that don't vote today because they don't believe in that. That's fine. We'll vote for you. I'm fine with that. But you can't ignore all the aspects of this. And some of the aspects are, don't show me commercials that it's all about people that that were raped or incest, when I don't think anyone has issue with that. I really don't. I think that we all agree on.
The abolitionists do.
I think we struggle when it appears to be that some people seem to use it as a form of contraception or an afterthought. I think that's when everybody takes issue with it. Much like if I would go to the beach right now, I live in New Smyrna Beach. We have turtle mounds everywhere. If I would go stomp on a turtle mound, I would be in a federal prison because it's a turtle egg. But you can kill a baby by using abortion, and it's not an issue to some people. No, we have to have this conversation. Look, I want women to have the rights to do it. I have daughters. I want them to have the right to do it. I get that. However, it's still something that should be taken a lot more seriously than, oh, it's my body, my choice.
Yeah.
No.
You had that choice.
Not because of that. That shouldn't be the reason, because then then a man should never, ever have to pay for that baby. Then a man should have the legal right to then say, if it's your body, your choice, then my money's my choice and I don't pay for it. They should have that right then. And that's not the way the world looks. Now, that would be an asshole of a guy to do that, but that doesn't change the fact that they should have the right to do that.
It's kind of an asshole thing to kill a child too.
If we're going to use that.
Now, on the flip side of it, unfortunately, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, women are dying at a higher rate than ever before because of the law changes.
Not because of that, because the state's not jumping into action immediately and handling their business. The states could handle their business.
There's 9 states that are not allowing abortions for any reason whatsoever.
That's the state's fault. That's not Roe v.
I understand.
My understanding of that Roe v. Wade, they knew this could come. They knew that wasn't a law. They knew how. Look, remember, I'm just a bill and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Why did I watch that? And how is it that all these people, way smarter than all three of us, they couldn't figure out, we got something on the books right here that could be overturned at any point. Let's make it a law. But they don't do it. They just don't do their damn job. That's my issue with politicians. They never do their damn job. Their job is to be elected. Look, dude, give me one policy Kamala Harris has told us. My grandson is 4 months old. He's older than her election. He's older than her entire election. She has been on the ballot less than my grandson's been alive. Less. And we know nothing about this person.
And he could end up running for president.
I hope he does. No, I hope he doesn't, actually. Because then they open up my book. Leave me alone.
He's so delicious. He's gorgeous.
He's awesome. Thank you very much. But so those are, I think there's so many talking points that I think that we all I really do believe we agree more than we disagree. I think the media hypes us up, man. I think they run a story a certain way, and they get us pissed off and angry because they know that we're sensitive. They know
legacy media is the enemy.
Right.
It really is.
What else? You know, it's also happened in the last, I would say, 8 years. Okay, bipartisan discussions have gone out the door.
Oh, it's tribal.
It's
all
either
tribal.
me, it's either my way or the byway.
Right.
You know, when you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene espousing stupid stuff out of her
She's
mouth,
crazy.
okay, she's nuts. Okay, all right, that's not the way things used to work. People used to cross the aisle. Okay, they used to talk to people. They used to go on vacation with each other. Now, I'm being seen in public with a Democrat. Ugh. I'm being seen in public with a Republican.
Right.
Okay, it's terrible. Nobody's working for the people. They're working for whatever is their issue, or whoever stuck this in their pocket,
Right.
Democrat and Republican.
Right.
All about the money.
Yeah.
So you said something earlier, Louis, about you voted with your wallet this time.
I did.
So, and I don't disagree with that either. I know a lot of people actually who did the same. I know a lot of people who actually switched sides because of that, by the way. But for me, one of the reasons why I like my main focus when I was voting was it's almost embarrassing to say, but I didn't even vote for anybody this time. I voted against somebody this time. And I didn't even vote against somebody. I voted against an ideology that I don't agree with. I don't agree with what one side in particular is doing. And my hope is that they lose and lose badly, because I want them to go back and rethink the way they approach things. I think the left, and I'm going to just flat out say it, I think the left caters to the farthest left crazy lunatics that they could, that most of the country just does not agree with. And for whatever reason, they've hitched their wagons to the farthest left that they could go. And when they start talking, they're not talking to me. The things that they fight for, I'm just not interested. I can't sign off on that. And they're so far gone that it makes me vote for people like Trump, even though I'm not a Trumper. Like I'm not his guy, but some of the stuff he says makes more sense to me. But at the end of the day, I can't sign off on what I feel to be bad behavior, man. If my kid does something crazy, I'm not going to go take him out and buy him a new toy. I don't reward bad behavior. And what I see them doing is despicable behavior that I just cannot get behind.
Like
and
what?
they keep getting crazier and crazier, man.
Give me an example of what.
Okay, first example that I can pop in my head right off, and I can have many, but I'm going to try to not piss a bunch of people off. So the first one that popped in my head was, as an example, Gavin Newsom signed a law in California that says if my daughter or my son were to go to school and want to live as the opposite gender at school, they are under no obligation to tell me as their parent. That is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. As a parent, you are not raising my child. I am. If my child is doing something crazy like that, or something that impactful to their lives, who the fuck are you to not tell me what my child is doing? Like, unacceptable behavior. Like, absolutely. And I understand the reason why they're doing it. It's still bullshit. Like, you don't do that. That's my child, not yours.
That's in California. That's
that's the Democratic Party.
No, that's Gavin Newsom.
But Gavin Newsom is kind of high. I mean, I do got to admit that if that guy was on the ballot, he would win in a landslide right now, I think.
He's way out there. Okay.
He's way out there? Wait. I might have to record. We have to keep this. Wait a minute, because he might be your next guy.
He didn't used to be, though.
When
he was the mayor of San Francisco, when he was the mayor of San Francisco, I actually liked him. And then he started going to the far left and started listening to these crazy people, and they completely shifted.
But he doesn't represent every Democrat out there.
We're going to find out. Bro. You better watch out, Neil. You better watch out, because in 4 years he may be the dude. You better watch out.
A lot of his
You're
stuff.
Gonna have to vote for him.
There's a lot of his stuff that like he didn't just make it up.
So give us another one. Give us another one, Trinity. Give us a non-California one.
Oh God,
I got one for you. I got one for you because I think we both agree on this. I really don't like. I don't like how we had a failing vice president. I think we all saw her as a failing vice president. Matter of fact, I watch all the news channels, and all of them were kind of like admitting the same thing. No news channel was ever putting her like the next coming of Christ. Nobody. And I feel like we're on the Truman Show. I feel like we're on one of these movies, and we talked about this, Trinity, right? Because you and I think exactly alike on this issue. It feels like we're watching one of these movies where all of a sudden these Hollywood people got together and decided to make somebody who's a nobody into a somebody overnight. What's that Matthew McConaughey movie where all of a sudden they were videotape him everywhere he goes and he becomes a star? It's like we're watching reality TV at play. They created a character that we're all supposed to just love all of a sudden. And then we're told if we don't love her, we either hate women or we are racist against black people.
Well,
that if we don't like her, it's because we don't want a black woman to win. Whoa.
yeah.
That is not why I dislike her. I dislike her because she was put as the borders are, which they're telling me she never was, when those exact words were used by CNN over and over again about her.
Say it again.
They called her the borders are early on when she was given the job. And now they act like that never happened. And from a person who has always told people, keep running, get over, I don't give a damn, run over. But when you tell that to people, here's what you cause. You cause rape, and you cause abuse, and you cause people to pay lots of money, thousands and thousands of dollars to coyotes, people who traffic people with no promise to get to the promised land, but they'll take your cash, separate the men from the women, rape the women, and still make them come in these large caravans, all in hope to become United States citizens due to a lie. Due to a lie that was not guaranteed. They should have never been told to get in those caravans. We should have stopped that from way over there and said that is not going to happen. But when on day one, when the Democratic Party pulled what Trump had, which is that stay in Mexico thing, they instilled an ideology in a lot of people in other countries that says the border is open. Now, we can go on CNN all day long and say the border's not open, the border's not open, the border's not open. And then you watch another channel and you see the people coming through. And then finally, once these two governors started busing people to other cities because those cities were saying, it's not happening. It's not happening. Okay, well, then you take some of the brunt of it financially. So let's bust them to you. And as soon as that happened, all of a sudden, everybody admits we have a border crisis. That pissed me off.
Well,
because
I wanna add to that,
by the way, to the people that don't know this, I have border patrol people in my friendship group and my family group. Mexicans were always still being deported. The people, because Mexicans cannot claim asylum, it's non-Mexicans that are being deported. So when you say they don't want our workers and undocumented workers, no, it has nothing to do with workers. Because if you're coming here for work, you will be deported. If you're coming here because you're seeking asylum, you are not deported. So it's not undocumented workers, it's asylum seekers, and it's fake asylum seekers. And that to me bothers me because there are real Mexicanos that come here for work, should be allowed to come here for work and go back and feed their families back in Mexico. And it gets all mixed up with this. Now we have a new hate towards Mexicans that never existed because you roped us in with everybody else. And we know that you guys are talking shit about them, but now we're roped into it. Man, white people have loved Mexicans. They love our food, they love our women, they love our music, they love all of it.
And what about Trump's desire to deport everybody, as many illegal aliens?
Because
there's a lot of Mexicans.
Don't agree with that. Don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
There. Hold on, but that right there, your party has got to stop that. What you just said doesn't negate what he just said. The whataboutism doesn't work, dude. You didn't answer his question. You just said, well, what about this? Well, okay, what about it? It doesn't negate everything he just said.
Well, Kamala Harris went on TV numerous times and told people to stop coming across because they're not welcome here.
She went into South America. No, she went into South America to look for the root causes. We know the root causes.
Yeah.
If you don't know the root causes and you're at that level of government,
said it wasn't
you're
a crime.
Freaking idiot.
She also said it wasn't a crime.
She told people to stop coming. She told people that were getting on caravans to stop coming.
But they were letting them in.
Hold on, I'm going to add to that. So I did think when you were talking, I did my main reason, right? Because I talked to you about this the other day. So it's a multifaceted one, but one of my biggest reasons fundamentally I don't like about what the party did this election specifically is, number one, I don't like the fact that Biden didn't overnight lose his shit. That's been a slow moving thing for a while. So that means you all knew he was not doing well for a while. And then you lied to everybody, made us tell that, oh, he's the greatest, he's the sharpest or whatever, until he went on national television and laid a turd that we all saw that you could no longer hide. Right. And then all of a sudden, literally within a couple of days, now all of a sudden he's not even fit to run, but yet he's still fit to run the country now. And bullshit. Wow, dude. So that means you guys care more about winning than the country, because somebody somewhere should have been like, hey, Uncle Joe isn't quite right. Maybe we need to look into this. Like that's
we call him bunker. We call him bunker.
Yeah.
Remember, because he bunker Biden because he was in a bunker the entire during the election last time.
My point is, nobody
He never came
said,
out.
"Hey, we should probably look into this." Like he was bad, man, and so you sat there and watched it because you care more about winning than you do the actual country.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, the other half of that is yes. I don't like the fact that you tried to take Trump off the ballot in Colorado because you don't like him. I don't like the fact that you put Kamala in and nobody voted for her. Like, that's not fucking cool.
All that is
dude.
election interference.
That's not cool. Like you're trying to go after him and go through like a fine-tooth comb to find anything you could possibly find that's illegal. And yet we all know that if they did that to every candidate, no matter what side of the table, you're going to find some stuff.
Amen.
Like it's not cool. And that right there, from a principle standpoint, I can't get behind, dude.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Listen, the Democrats finally woke up and realized that he just wasn't fit to serve another term.
They didn't just wake up. They didn't just wake up.
They've known, bro.
Leader,
like,
you know that he was bad. You know he was bad.
Man.
You know
he was not doing well for quite a while.
You're a doctor, for Christ's sake. You know damn well when you listen to. You're a very smart guy. You saw that he was.
And also the day that he did the debate, he was sick. Also,
forget. Oh, come on.
He's been sick for a while.
And it wasn't the day the debate had happened. What happened was two main figures said something. Clooney and Obama. Clooney and Obama made that decision, and everybody stepped and fetched
Pelosi pushed him out the door.
Because those two called Pelosi.
Yeah, Pelosi's the big dick in the room.
So for that does piss me off that they act like he gracefully bowed out on
that was
like
a coup.
some great American. No, he got and by the way, you are not allowed to change people just because you're going to lose. You can't do that, because then if that's true, they should have yanked Trump out of there after he sucked at his debate with Kamala and put someone else in. But you can't do that.
I fundamentally can't get behind that, and I think if we reward that,
Robin in his debate as well.
He sucked at his debate.
Yeah, but if we allow them to do that, they're going to just that. It's a sign that they can keep doing it, and I can't sign off on that, man. I just can't.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Trinity. You're right. You're right. You can't sign off on that bad behavior.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And with that note, listen, thank you for the opportunity. It was fun, and I'm glad that it was Scott Sturgill on the other end.
Of course, of course.
He's a good guy, even though he only got 3,094 votes and never made it. Take care.
Hey, wait a minute before you go. Wait,
he stuck it to him. Wow. Damn. All right. Hats off to you on that one, bro. That was a nice little jab. Holy shit. Wow. Okay.
Good. I like it.
Wow. Wow. That was
a little sparky. I like it.
That was a little jab there, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so where are we at numbers wise? Are any of the states up for grab? What do you call those states?
The swing states.
Swing states.
Dude, I don't even honestly know what the swing states are at the moment, to be honest with you. But I mean, Georgia right now is at 47% reporting, and they've got going to Trump.
We think that's going to happen anyway, right?
Well, I mean, it went to that was a big deal last election. Is it went to Biden?
Who did it go to?
It went to
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because Atlanta. Remember Atlanta, all the mail-ins. That's why they said all the mail-ins were like double counter or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, like I said, I mean, we can get into the weeds about debating specific things, and there's going to be a mountain of evidence on the other side. For me personally, the biggest one, I just cannot sign off on the batshit crazy stuff and the clear coup. I can't. Those two things alone, I cannot sign off on.
I agree with you.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think Trump is so bad that, like, we've already had 4 years. I could do that again. But what I can't do is I can't do the crazy stuff, and I can't do the slow moving coup. Like, I can't.
You think it'll get worse? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what. Here's where I'm at, Trinity. I really don't know where she would take it, because I think she's a big phony. I think she said so far.
That's my point. No. That's my point.
You know, like,
that's my point. She's not.
I don't know anything about her.
My point is when she first came out for the first like 30 days.
Right.
Now go back and look. For the first 30 days, they were calling her the second coming. They were all like, Kamala.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask a single person what policy they were supporting her on if you don't mention her gender or her race. No, because she didn't have any.
Yeah, you're right.
So how are you supporting somebody who doesn't even have a platform? You're just blindly supporting. Like, what? That's my problem. Because I
but
can't
did
sign
it
off
before.
on that, dude.
But I did it before. I did it with Hillary.
Yeah, but that's
I voted for her just
you're
because she was a female.
no, but you're just a regular dude. I'm talking about these are like other political people. These are parties. These are the
Yeah, you're right.
media.
Yeah.
Like you're supporting somebody. And you're rah rah rah, but you don't support any. She doesn't stand for anything yet. You're just blindly following. And so my problem is I can't reward that behavior because if it works out and they win, you think they're not going to do it again? I need it to fail, and I need it to fail miserably. So they look back and say, "Whoa, okay, that didn't work."
Well, here's I guess here's what I'm leaning on with that. If she wins, I think she doesn't agree with Biden, because if she agreed with Biden, she would have used his victories, if you want to call them that, while in office more, but she didn't.
But she was asked like 50 times, "What would you do differently?" She said nothing.
Because she doesn't need to. Trinity, she doesn't need to do a damn thing and still win. This was created.
Yeah, she's got the media.
Yeah, she was created by them.
Yeah,
she's got the machine. The machine created her. So all she has to do is just get up there, just don't screw it up. All she had to do was not screw it up. She was that backup quarterback. She was that backup quarterback that just handed off. Don't throw the ball.
But she has, though. If you watch her interview, she
hand it off.
These word salads that come out of her mouth. It's like, oh my gosh.
Not enough sense. Actually, she has sounded better in these last 4 months than she ever.
We're watching different things, I think.
I've
never seen her sound good at all.
No, I didn't say good. I said better, Trinity. And that was a real low bar.
That's a really low bar.
Remember, her word salads were bad. I mean, really, yellow bus. Yeah, yellow bus. Who doesn't like yellow buses? I like Venn diagrams. She has said some really dumb shit.
Yeah, dude, she called Biden like a big racist and stuff. Had this whole story about when she was a kid on different buses. 4 days later, she's just running mate. Like what?
But I haven't seen her do as bad since, and I think that's right when we're all watching her, dude. She did her best. She has been her best version of herself these last 4 months.
The other thing I would say, the other thing I would say for anybody who's watching, right, like. Because I had to go through my own journey.
Arkansas just called it. Of course,
I had to go through my own Trump journey, right? Because when he first won, I was in disbelief. I was like, "What the hell?" And at the time, I believed the media hype that only racist people voted for him.
Right.
And then it didn't sit right with me, just from a analytical perspective. Like it's illogical to think that much of the country is that racist. So then I started talking to people who voted for him, and I started realizing that the people who voted for him weren't really racist. Like they believed in him for different things. So I was like, okay, maybe they're not all racist. But then I started watching certain things, and I remember the exact moment. Actually, I was driving somewhere, and I saw on my Twitter thing a thing came up, and it said on CNN's little ticker, and it said Trump's racist tweets.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, like what did he say? Oh my god.
Gonna be good.
So I immediately went and looked up, and I saw the tweets in question, and they were not racist.
Yeah.
They were distasteful, they were stupid, but they weren't racist. And I was like, that's a straight up lie. So then I started looking more into all these things that I'm being told and all these things that are put out there about what he said and everything else. And as I realized, it's all bullshit. Like 90% of what they say he did or said is just not really accurate. It's twisted and it's moved around. And then he got so mistreated. Like I remember when I was a kid, it was don't respect a man, respect the office. And then the first time that I can remember that going too far was Obama was on the tarmac and the Arizona chick came up to him and said something really distasteful to him. That was the first moment that I can remember of like, whoa, like nobody's ever like talked to the president that way. I mean, people have, but not people who were in the Congress and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so the way she treated him with Obama, this was the first time I remember things going overboard.
Yeah.
But then with Trump, it went to a whole other level. Like he got so mistreated, and I was just like, they're bullying him, and I don't like bullies.
By all of them.
Yeah,
I mean, she ripped up his State of the Union address.
Yeah,
remember?
it's ridiculous
On TV. How do you do that?
And the whole and even Dr. Wiener said it too, which is all. It's been debunked. The whole very fine people on both sides. It's a lie.
Yeah,
that's not what was happening, man.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't like the unfair shit. It makes me go for the underdog, man. It makes me fight for him because it's like, dude,
I'm an underdog fighter.
Completely mistreated. Yeah. So when you have one hand over here, dude, he does enough where you don't have to make shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, he does enough that you could just focus on when it actually comes out of his mouth and you could fight it all day. but they don't. They go the extra degree and they make up stuff to make it sound worse, and it bothers me. And then on the other side, not only are they doing that, but then they're doing this coup and they're lying about the competency of our current president, and they're forcing her down. It's like, no, dude, you lost my vote a long time ago. Now you're gonna have to earn it back. Like, until further notice, I'm not voting for a single one of them, man. Like, I need to see some differences, man.
It is going to be a while before I can trust that party again. Right now, I got to be honest. That's I think you're talking real facts there right now.
But we're not the only one. Look, they lost Tulsi Gabbard. They lost Elon Musk. They lost who was the other one? Kennedy, RFK. There's all these people that if they're so great, why do you keep losing your people? And they're going to Trump. If he's so terrible and so bad, then why are so many people going to his side?
Right.
Smart people. Dude, Elon has probably forgotten more shit than I'll ever learn in my life. And that dude, his switch side, not just switch, but like he's all in. Like, come on, dude. Like, there's got to be something to this. And I like Tulsi Gabbard as well. And she switched sides. The Kennedy. You have a Kennedy endorsing a Republican.
Dude, his own family attacked him because of that.
So it's like, dude, it's going to be a long time before I trust in them. I need to see some major changes. And for God's sakes, dude, if you're anybody who has any influence on the left at all whatsoever, tell them to stop hitching their wagons to the craziest of the crazy, dude. Distance yourself. We as white people did it. We said we call them white trash. Like, we distance ourselves. Distance yourselves from these crazy lunatics with these, bro. If you would have told me when I was like 15, 16 years old that I'd be in my 40s and we'd be debating what a woman is, I never would have believed you. Like, that's insane to me that we're at, like, and normal people don't agree with that, but they don't talk to normal people. They put the craziest left up there. Well, you don't speak for the majority of us, man. You just don't. And that's why I hope Trump not only wins, but wipes the floor with him, because I need them to step back and say, holy crap, do we need to rethink our approach?
And even if they're not crazy, some of you, but you may be, you're allowed to be a small minority of the human population. So even if you're not crazy, because I like a little crazy in the world, right? So
not that kind of crazy.
But what I'm saying is that you just might be too small of a percentage, and nobody should cower to your group if you're that small of a percentage. I'm sorry, there's nobody out there fighting for the little people of the world. It's not happening.
And as a white dude,
there's no little person out there. There's no little person out there says, you know what? I've never seen a winner on Survivor that looks like me, or I've never had a president that looks like me, or I've never had a teacher that looks like me, because I haven't had any little people any of that.
Not me either.
Or people in wheelchairs saying, oh, I've never had a president in a wheelchair that it represents me. No, so there's a lot of different subgroups of people that have not had representation,
and they do just fine.
Yeah, that's not the measure of good health.
That's the other problem, right? There's only one party that's telling me that I'm the problem,
right?
Because I'm a white straight male.
Yeah,
there's only one party that's trying to tell me that I'm somehow guilty of things. Right. I'm sorry. Last I checked, when it comes to racism, I'm sorry. Weren't there white people who fought in the Civil War?
Yeah. Well, I'm allowed to say Mexican pride, but you can't say white pride.
Yeah, it's stupid, and I'm tired of it, man. And that's the problem. And
that's horrible.
And I'm not the only one. And that's the problem. Is you piss people off and they won't say it to your face, but they do behind closed doors.
I can say I'm proud to be Puerto Rican. You can't say I'm proud to be white.
It's just ridiculous to me, man. I'm
so horrible.
I'm so tired of being told that white men who are straight are the problem. Like, stop it. Stop it. This country wouldn't run without us, man. Like, stop it.
Can you imagine? Like, I'm proud to be single. I mean, straight. I'm proud. I'm a proud straight. You can't even say that. Like you can't have straight pride. That just.
I've got 10-finger pride, man. I've got 10-finger pride. I've got all 10 of them. I had them my whole life, yo. It's just it's stupid. You didn't do anything.
And to laugh at these things, like, I become some person that's like hateful. I'm not hateful. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you like. I'm good with that. You should be good with that too. But I believe in mental health. I believe in good mental health, and you're responsible for your own personal mental health. But you have to understand that part of your mental health is not everybody's going to agree with you. Your feelings aren't facts. No. They're your feelings. They're things that you got to process through. It comes from trauma, probably from your own initial subgroup of family that hurt you so bad. But then you try to give us all that crap because now we need to be better than your family was. Your family is the one that disowned you, not me. Go back and deal with them. Don't make that my problem.
Yeah,
You know,
I just
that's
don't
the
like.
things of that bother me, and in any subgroup. It's like, you know what I mean? You got injured by somebody else. Go back to the injured, or like deal with it with your own faith. If you had a strong faith or belief system in something inside of you, feel good about yourself. You don't need us to feel good about you. Sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but you know, words can never hurt you. That was a good thing that we were taught. That's healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now, do we have a responsibility to be respectful? Absolutely.
sure.
But that's my choice to be respectful.
Yeah,
But the minute you tell me what respect is, and you're allowed to disrespect me, but I have to be respectful, then that's
Yeah.
when we got a problem. Respect
Yeah.
goes both ways.
they've gone too far, man.
And that's not what's happening.
Well,
That's
and
not
not
what's
only that, but wouldn't you want Trump to be president? Because his ego is going to make him want to be like the person who changes everything, right? Like he's going to want to be the dude that, like, look what I did. Like, you know, like let that dude, let his ego get in the way, please. He wants to be the best.
I personally believe that this time around, he represents my needs better than she does, because I don't know what she represents. I don't know.
The machine. That's what she represents.
That's my problem. I don't know who's really running this country. I don't know who put her in office. I don't know how this became a thing. I don't know who's controlling. But I do know that when I switch around the channels, they use the exact same words, the exact same way, at the exact same time. That's freaky. That's freaky. When you can go to channel, and they all say the exact same thing, that's really freaky to me, man.
Have you ever seen those videos where it shows like 50 of them and they're all saying the exact same thing at the same time?
Dude, this is like
it's all talking points.
This is a weird government controlling media in a very weird way, where the mind control is woo. You know what? As a kid, I said, F you, I don't do what you tell me. I raged against the machine there. I still go against the machine. Then this, my friends, is the machine. I used to think it was the Republican Party. It has changed.
It used to be. Yeah, it's flipped.
It's flipped. Just like it was the Democratic Party that had the slaves, but for some reason nobody.
They want to forget about that.
Yeah, Democrats were the party of slavery. Then they flipped, and then the Republicans look like the racists, but now it's flipped back the other way.
Well, and not only that, but I also kind of have to. And I had this conversation with my wife the other, like, I don't know, like whenever the assassination attempt happened. Like
the first one.
Yeah, he's kind of won me over too, in the sense of just from a male's, like, kind of what I respect in people, in the sense that, like, number one, if somebody shoots at me, you don't even have to hit me. If you shoot in my general direction, I'm out, bro. Like, I'm not see ya. Like, I'm not sticking around for this. So the fact that he gets up after he potentially just got shot and doesn't know if there's even still a shooter, and he's over there yelling fight, like, that's crazy to me. And then what I do respect about the dude is, and this is what I kind of like, he kind of won me over in the sense that I want somebody who's going to fight. Dude, they've been after him since he announced. He went from, like, everybody's favorite figure, hanging out with black folks all the time, to now all of a sudden he's racist and everybody
the number one show on NBC.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. And so the fact that he's fought all of them and he won't back down and he just keeps coming and keeps coming. Like, Biden is over here. Meanwhile, this dude, like, is going to do a 3-hour interview with, Rogan, and then literally going to Wisconsin. This dude never stops.
No, he's a machine.
And they keep trying to fight him. They keep trying to beat him down, and he keeps fighting back. Yeah. He went from, like, really beloved to, like, a lot of people hate this dude. And for what? He didn't need the money, bro. Like, I gotta respect it.
You said something good to me. I think it was off air that you said, at least with him, we know who's running the country. With her, we don't. And I believe that. With him, I feel like he is, if he's not running it, at least he has a strong say-so in it, because he wouldn't be able to keep his mouth shut otherwise.
But no,
you know what I mean? He doesn't have that filter.
But if you're in one of these other countries who means us harm, who are you more afraid of or respectful of, him or her? With him, you don't know what he's going to do, man. He might, like, bomb your country or something. He's a wild can. Like, you have no idea. Towards her, you're going to feel like you can kind of steamroll her. I mean, come on, man.
He's a true New Yorker.
Did you hear the story about when he told the guy nobody gets hurt, and then he shows the picture of the guy's house? Like, come on, dude. Like, come on, man. That's leader stuff. I don't care who you say. So I don't know, man. But all that aside, it doesn't even matter to me. What matters to me is I cannot sign off on what they're doing. Right. I cannot reward bad behavior. They have lost their mind. They don't represent me in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And I know he said that my first example about California doesn't, but it does. The Democratic Party got behind that.
Because they love him. They love Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And he's going to eat those words because Gavin Newsom
Yeah.
will be up
But
there.
the notion that that's just California, no, dude. California is a blue state. They are. It starts there, and then it works its way across.
Pelosi's California. Kamala Harris is California.
Yes,
they're all San Francisco people. So is he.
This notion that there's some sort of an island detached from everyone. No, it's not, dude. That's the training ground, bro. They start there and then they come across.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it. Like, and most, that's the other thing too, which is why I think Trump actually does have a good chance of winning, regardless of how much he's pissed people off. Is a lot of people are voting with their wallets. And you could stand on principle all you want, but at the end of the day, when you're broke, that's what matters.
Yeah, no money matters.
Yes. And then the other thing is a lot of the stuff that these guys preach, they might not hear about it publicly, but they don't agree with it, man. They just don't. I haven't talked to anybody in my life that agrees with this whole, like, what is a woman thing. All of them will quietly be like, this is stupid. Yeah. Publicly, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, behind closed doors, they're all just like, this is retarded. I don't know where this is coming from. So and so it's like, you don't represent us as a whole, as a collective. And so until you do, you won't get my vote.
I happen to agree with you. I think that it's one of these, he surprised all of us back in 2016.
I didn't see that coming.
It was like a Muhammad Ali shocked the world kind of thing.
Yes.
I think that, they took it for granted in 2020. They took it for granted. I think, there was a lot of dude, when you get that much media on one side, there's a reason these people spend as much money as they spend on media, because media does matter. Media does move needles.
You say it enough times, it becomes the truth.
When you have that many channels saying the same thing and they barely won, what does that tell you? They barely won with all of that media, with all the social media, we've now learned all the bullshit on the social media that was used against him and his candidacy, all the lies that were told, all the it was a Russia disinformation, all that stuff, and he barely lost.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. How can you not even think that, the election was stolen? Maybe not the way he says it was stolen, but it was most definitely stolen.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing I don't agree with is, I understand. I understand both sides. When people say that his speech and stuff, how he's being aggressive and things of that nature, I kind of understand that perspective, but I also have a different viewpoint, and that is, can you imagine being attacked constantly? At some point, you're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I'm fighting. Y'all don't. I'm fighting. Win or lose, I'm gonna go out my way, and I'm gonna fucking fight every last one of you. Yeah. And so I don't necessarily hate his speech. I don't hate him calling her stupid and things of that nature. Do you, bro? Like I can't imagine, because I've felt oppressed in my life, right? As we've all felt oppressed as kids. The adults are oppressing us, whatnot. So I understand that feeling of being attacked and the feeling of it's not fair or whatever. I can't imagine on the scale that he's had to deal with consistently against him, his family. They took his business. They're trying to take his freedom. He went from beloved to racist and Hitler. Bro, I can't honestly tell you that I wouldn't come out swinging too. Like, I've been calling everybody whatever I want.
I would too.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Hate
I'm
him?
a lot more sensitive. I'm a lot more sensitive than he's real sensitive, but he hasn't changed. Here's the thing, man. This guy, you got to remember when he had the issue with Rosie O'Donnell. So he's always been like that.
He sued Bill Maher because Bill Maher said his mom had sex with a orangutan.
Look, we know he's very litigious. And he uses the court system like crazy.
Yeah.
And he goes after people relentlessly. That's always been him.
He's spiteful.
Here's what I like is that no matter what, he's still that dude. So we know what we're getting because he's still that dude. Because if not, he wouldn't have picked JD Vance as his running mate.
Oh, I like JD, man. The more I hear of him, the more I like him.
He would have done the racist thing like what Biden did, is it says, I'm going to get a black female or I'm going to get a Hispanic guy. He would have went that route if he was just as racist as the other side. But because he's not as biased as the other side, he still sticks to, I'm going to get the best person that I think for me at the time.
Yeah. The more I hear about JD, the more I like him, though, to be honest with you.
I liked him for his movie. I don't know enough about him as himself, but I like
this movie. But I think the smartest thing that JD and him both did were going Joe Rogan and like these long 3-hour things. Yeah. That's the best thing they could have done because you get to know them as a person, not just talking points.
Yeah, I got it.
And I've been really impressed with both of them. And even the one with Elon, I watched the whole thing.
I got to admit, I think when the names on that side are a lot more impressive to me.
Very.
I think Joe Rogan has done to the platform of podcasts what nobody else has ever done.
Oh yeah,
and didn't think he could do. And I think Elon Musk has done for the world or humankind what nobody else has ever done. So the kind of people that have at first not embraced Donald, but sat with him, talked to him, and then embraced him are the kind of people that are life changers in humanity.
Oh, but they're not. They've got Miley Cyrus, dude. What are you talking about? Or whatever her name is, Taylor Swift. They got her, dude. What are you talking about? Yeah, she makes everything better.
Dude, I hate
Elon.
I hate that I lost De Niro.
Taylor Swift.
I hate that I can't look at De Niro the same way anymore, man. I love you.
He lost his rocker, dude.
Bobby, why you talk like that, bro? I love you, man. Yeah. Anyway, the swing states are Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Are any of those called yet?
No. The one that I think everybody's kind of keeping their eye on that we're going to know first is Pennsylvania. At the moment, there's 13.
Oh, that's the one that last. I think that's the we're not going to know that until tomorrow.
That's the one that everybody's worried about, though. That's the one that they think can kind of change the election one way or the other.
Right.
And that at the moment is 13% reporting. It's got her at 68% and him at 31%. But it's only 16%.
Thank you, Scott.
Who knows?
Yeah, let me see. Arizona's not going to be good. Oh, Georgia, you said it is looking like him so far.
At the moment, Georgia is at 62% reporting, and it's got him at 52%.
That's interesting. Okay, what about Michigan? Not yet. Nevada, not yet. Because Michigan, what about North Carolina?
Michigan is at 8% reporting, and it's got her at 55%. But it's only 8%.
That's huge. What about North Carolina?
North Carolina has flipped since we've been talking. North Carolina now is 24% reporting, and it's got him at 53%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The entire Southeast right now from the map is all red. The only blue you have.
Why do red states count faster? What's up?
Because we use our shoes and stuff like that. Too.
Oh, you're calling yourself a we now.
I live in Florida.
For now. Oh, okay. I thought you've changed your affiliation from independent to are you ready to call yourself a Republican yet, or are you gonna stay?
I was registered Republican for my entire voting career. I didn't always vote Republican, but at 18 in high school I registered at Republican. I voted both Democrat and Republican in my life, and then I recently switched it to independent, like I think a couple of years ago.
And you did, for the record, you did what a lot of people did not do, and you went to go see the inauguration of Obama when he got elected.
Yeah. I thought that was a big moment in history, man. And
that's pretty awesome.
I really liked Obama, man. I liked the way he talked. I liked the way he presented himself. Do I think he was our best president? I mean, things are coming out now where I think maybe he could have done some things differently, but at the time, I did also buy into the whole, as Dr. Weeder was saying, this whole notion of carry yourself a certain kind of way, and this is what we expect from the president.
He is a cool brother, man. He is.
But at the same token, I'm kind of tired of that too. I do find it refreshing when Trump is like, "Cut the bullshit, man. Let's just talk." It seems like the older I get, the less patience I have for bullshit, and I'm not interested in the blowing the smoke up my ass, right? Like,
did you feel like he blew smoke though? Not him, right? The party, you mean, but not him.
No. Politicians in general. I'm getting to the point as I get older where I know they're all probably full of shit. I know that they're all probably doing some crazy things behind our backs.
Right.
So this notion that respect the office because he's dignified, please, dude. Like, come on, man. Half of them do crazy stuff that we're not looking around. So it's all an act.
Right.
So for me, this notion that they're upset at Trump, not because he lies, but because he's not good at it. That's a problem for me. Like, don't tell me you have a problem with him lying when you know damn good and well they all lie. What you're mad at is he didn't get away with it. You're mad that he's not a good liar, like that, and that's just stupid to me. Like, so for me, I care less now Like if you have the best colored suit and you use this and you're all dignified and everything else, because to me that's also a snake in the grass, dude. Like some of the best, some of the best. I mean, Ted Bundy was amazing. He was awesome to everybody. Everybody loved him. He presented himself very well.
Yeah.
And yet,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So this notion that somehow that bad
right
people
about that.
can't present well is just stupid to me. So for me, I care more about like, all right, what's your record? What have you voted on? What are you actually doing? What are your policies? Like, how are you actually doing this?
Well, you know who I liked as a person, but not necessarily as a president, was the little George Bush.
W. I'm the decider.
As a person, man, dude, that dude seems like somebody I'd love to hang out with. I mean, he just seemed like a cool brother to me, right? You know what I mean?
Weird, yeah.
But that doesn't mean as a president he was very good at it,
I'm the decider.
But he also was there at a real rough time. 9/11 is not an easy time to be a president.
9/11 was terrible.
Just like the pandemic was an easy time to be a president. Luckily that happened at the end of a presidency and not necessarily at the beginning of one. But Biden came into presidency at a time where it was only upswing from there. I mean, we had just been locked down for a long time. He should have been able to not only unite us, because we get united in tragedy, right? We get united in things like that. He should have been able to do exactly what he said he was going to do, which is unite us. And instead, we are more divided now than we were when he became president. And
do you honestly think though that he
easiest opening?
But do you honestly think that he would have held up to even half the amount of scrutiny that Trump got?
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying the one thing that I remember him promising was unity. I don't remember any of his other promises.
No. I remember the problem. What I'm saying is like the reason why so many people have a negative taste with Trump, right? It isn't because of anything he actually did. It's just all the media coverage and all the stuff that they heard. Yet they didn't treat Biden the same. And so it's like, it's easy to say, well, Biden, but no, you have no idea.
If you believe media, he's a bad father, but which one has proven to had a more healthy kids?
Yeah. I mean, if you covered, I don't know, man, I just don't think that, I think it's just sad that we didn't get behind our president during the pandemic and stuff.
100%.
The fact that they still they went after him so horribly. And it's like, dude, like you're hurting us as a whole now. You're more fixated on your feelings and winning than you are the country as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's sad and it's fucking irritating, to be honest with you. Because it's like, don't lie to me and tell me that you care about our country and everything else when I saw what y'all did for 4 years. Like, and if I hear, I am so tired of, once again, and I'm going to call them morons, fucking retarded, reading comprehensive of a 3-year-old, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I'm so tired of hearing that January 6th was somehow this war. January 6th was fucking stupid. It didn't mean anything. It was such a non-event, but they try so hard to make it to be like an atom bomb was dropped in the middle of our country or something. Like, first of all, he didn't incite anything. He did come out and tell people to protest peacefully and everything else. All the things that you say he didn't do, he did. And there's legitimate evidence for that. And you all act like clutching your pearls. Oh, my God. But you want to forget that the entire BLM movement just destroyed our country for like the entire fucking summer? Like, I want to just line them all up and slap the shit out of every single one of them. Like, stop it, dude.
Because you're a man. Because you're toxic.
Because I'm fucking smart, dude, and I'm tired of people pissing on me and telling me it's rain, man. Like, stop it.
I can't agree that it was nothing, but I also don't agree with what they say it was. I don't agree with what they say.
They've got videos of cops letting them in the door, dude, and walking around with them.
I hear you. What I'm saying is, the reason I don't think it should be put to the level that they all say is because an insurrection, in my idea, is
you have to have guns for that, don't you?
You're talking about the most armed people on our planet were there, and not one of them got arrested for having a gun. Not one.
Dude, they were just walking around taking pictures.
If they wanted to take over with weapons, they would have took over with weapons if they wanted to. These are people who know how to shoot. They don't shoot like this. They shoot like this, and they know how to hit things. I will never be. Look, I've been shot at 3 times, and the reason I don't have a bullet in me is because the kind of people that have shot at me, they don't know how to shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if law enforcement were shooting at me, or somebody that was trained and knew how to respect a weapon and knew how to use a weapon and was a real weapon owner, I'd be shot because they would have shot it differently. They would have used their weapon differently. They wouldn't be shooting it out of the car while they're driving by real fast. And come on, man.
Dude, the reason why I say it was not that big of a deal was because they went after the Capitol, number one.
Mm.
The only person that got like severely hurt due to anything that happened there was the girl that was shot by the Secret Service. Because the other police that they say they were hurt, most of them died of like natural causes. Like a lot of them died of heart attacks and things of that.
Well, that one guy was hit by like
he was hit by it was minuscule, dude. It was like a couple. It was a couple.
He did die though.
It was a couple
later,
right? But when you look at the BLM movement, that was nationwide. That was multiple cities. I have personal friends that were on the police department here in Orlando that had bags of urine thrown on them. They took over an entire city in Seattle.
That's crazy.
They burned like
7 blocks, right?
Yeah, they burned federal buildings. There's people whose businesses or their lives will never be the same. Their entire life was in that store. It's gone now.
Yeah, that affected more people.
It's ridiculous that happened. That is insane to me.
Yeah,
here's one incident that happened for like a couple hours that like 90% of the people, there's videos of them literally just walking around. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Like,
the wheelchairs. There was a guy in the wheelchair getting pushed. You know, here's the thing.
That was this big deal.
The reason they continue to make it a big deal is because they were affected. They were affected. The politicians were affected.
Dude,
they're the ones that were afraid.
Some of them even said that they were, but they were in another building.
But they get favor that way and then get reelected.
Exactly.
That way. Whereas the Summer of Love that you're talking about, we got affected. Everybody was affected.
Yeah.
You know, as a father of kids that were going out on weekends and hanging out of I was more concerned about their safety and because when you have that kind of racial bias, they're not going to know my kids are Latino. You know, that white black issue, us Latinos got caught in the crossfire because we come in white and black. We come in both colors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that whole when you start getting that racial divide getting promoted by media promoting a racial, are you nuts? The president of the United States promoting racial divide? Are you nuts? You don't talk like that. You don't say that stuff. Then that's when it's very dangerous.
The sitting president just called half the country garbage.
I know. Look, the other side was a comedian that wasn't the president. And he wasn't talking about the people. The sitting president,
and he wasn't talking about the people.
Right.
He was talking about the trash. And I can show you articles. There is an actual trash problem in Puerto Rico. Like there's a lot of trash that's coming up onto the shores and stuff. Right. It is happening, and he was talking about that. To where, and everybody ran, and their reading comprehension skills apparently are less than desirable because he's talking about the people. No, he wasn't talking about the people.
I told you I'm a sensitive
person.
Then I don't want.
But then the actual sitting president calls half the country actual people garbage, and that's okay somehow. Like, come on, dude. Like, I'm just tired of it. Like, stop it. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my kids' fight. I'll watch my daughter push my son and say something crappy to him. Then he hauls off and pushes her back, and she comes running to me saying how he pushed her, as if I didn't just watch the entire thing unfold.
Yeah,
it's like, stop it. I know what you're doing. I'll tell him, hey, don't put your hands on your sister. But then I'll tell her, stop fucking instigating.
Right.
I saw what you did. You can't push him and get on him and expect him not to do anything in return. Right. You're being stupid. Stop it. And same thing with the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats will clutch their pearls and do all sorts of stupid shit, even though they're the craziest ones of them all at the moment. Stop it. I see what you're doing. Stop it.
Una bola de locos, man.
It's ridiculous.
Una bola de locos.
It's ridiculous.
Drive me nuts. So where do you have like something that tells you like where each state is at the moment or no?
Yeah, there's a whole map that shows where they're all at the moment with their little slider thing. It's got Trump at 120 and her at 99.
So we got,
but a lot of that's projections, though. Yeah, like, I don't think anything has been officially called. I mean, the closest one right now is Florida.
No, Nebraska just got called. For Harris.
Well, but Nebraska's at
New
0%.
York. New York just got called.
Nebraska is showing
at it right
Trump.
now. No.
See, I'm looking at the actual website, and it's got Nebraska at 0% reporting called for Trump.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is no matter what channel you're on or what
I got
four of them.
I got 4 of them. So let me see if it says it on another channel. I got 4 channels up. I got what is that? I got BBC, Fox News, CNN, and what's that 4th channel?
MSNBC.
No. Was it NBC or CBS? It's one of those. Oh, it is MSNBC. You're right. It's MSNBC.
Yeah.
Georgia, so far, it's looking like Trump. 66% in. They're doing the whole rundown right now. North Carolina looks like it's Trump. That's a battleground state. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
They're going through it. Pennsylvania at 16% in has Kamala Harris winning like in a landslide.
Which one?
Pennsylvania.
16%. There's 16% right now. It's got her at 63 and him at 35.
Yeah, huge.
But I don't know. Like, remember that the same thing happened last time where Trump was actually leading, and at the end it kind of slipped. So I think
wasn't it because the mail-in or something like that?
I don't know. That one's going to have to be watched for a while. I think. I think that's one of the ones that's going
still
to be
a huge difference. That's a huge number, though.
Yeah.
New Hampshire so far is looking like Kamala. I think we knew that. Ohio's looking like Donald. Is that a red state? Is Ohio a red state or a blue state?
I think it typically is, yes.
Red?
I think so. Isn't Ohio where JD's from anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where he's from.
Yeah. So that's still winning.
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a few more hours anyways before we really start.
What about our Florida stuff? You got anything on our Florida stuff? Like, I think the last thing I saw coming on this is that that marijuana thing was not winning by. It has to win by 60% in one vote.
Okay,
60% plus one, and it wasn't winning by that.
Let me see. The ballot measures.
We have abortion on the ballot. And we have
the First Amendment looks like it's going to be a yes, and that's the partisan election for school boards. The Amendment 2 is going to be a yes. The Amendment 3, wow, Amendment 3 for legalized recreational marijuana with
losing, right?
91% reporting is at 44.3% no.
It won't win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, the Fourth Amendment with the right to abortion is 57% yes, with 91% reporting. So that looks like it's going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
The Fifth Amendment is the property tax adjustment.
Wait, do all amendments need to win by 60% in one?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, then it's not going to pass.
They're saying with 85% reporting, it looks like it's going to pass.
Oh. Well, then I don't know the 60% in one rule. Then I'm just
no, I don't know. I mean, these are obviously projections.
Yeah.
And then the Sixth Amendment repeals public financing. Looks like it's not going to pass. So, yeah. And then I guess for Senate, it looks like Rick Scott is going to win.
Interesting. What about Chitwood? Are you able to see if Chitwood?
It doesn't
sheriff in Volusia County.
It doesn't give me that option at the moment. It only gives me like governor, House, Senate, president.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure if I dug around, I could probably find.
Yeah. Who else do we have? Any other bigger thing other than senators on there? Or no, I don't remember.
I don't know. Because I don't think governor is this election. It's the next one.
No, yeah, it's not.
But yeah, I mean, so far it looks like what people thought is going to happen is happening. Right. It's going to be the ones that as the night progresses are going to be the ones that everybody is either going to be shocked by or whatever.
It's weird that Fox News has the race a lot closer than MSNBC. MSNBC is reporting like Trump winning all of these votes, and then Fox News is doing the opposite. I feel like I'm watching the wrong channel.
That's because Fox got in trouble that one year.
Oh, okay.
They got in trouble by calling, I think it was Arizona too soon or something like that, and then the Trump campaign got really mad at them. So now they're like reluctant to call unless it's like absolutely for sure.
Oh, because does that force people to not go vote? Maybe
because
they think, oh, well, then they're not going to need my vote. And you absolutely need to keep going. That is the problem with it. I'm glad we're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because I got to admit, if it was a hassle to go vote, and I'm thinking, the way I'm voting is already winning, then why would I?
I just got a text message from somebody tells me that the marijuana thing did fail. It's already been reported. So
yeah,
which is what it looks like on here. So yeah, it looks like we are not going to get.
That's a surprise.
I am shocked by that.
I am shocked by that. I am very surprised.
I'm less shocked about the abortion thing. I did think the abortion thing could go either way, if I'm honest. But the weed thing, I would have bet money that was going to go through.
Yeah.
The abortion one, I could have believed either way, but with the weed map, that's wow. I can't. I'm shocked. Wow. Yeah, but more people did vote yes for it, though. I just broke down the numbers are 5 million.
But it has to be 60% plus one.
Yeah, 5.7 million voted yes, 4.5 million voted no. So it was pretty split.
She's winning Michigan right now. That's on that. That's on. You see, all the states that really matter are those 7. And right now,
Swing states, yeah.
right now she's doing good on the swing states, man.
There's still a lot of stuff needs to be counted, but yeah, I hear you.
Well, I guess it really depends if it's the cities that have reported or it's the rural, right? Because that's the way it always is, right? He wins all the rural. It's always weird when you look at the map of each state because the whole state is red, and then it's like whatever major city, that's a blue. Yeah. It's like that in every single state in the union.
But that's also why I can't stand this notion of getting rid of the electoral college. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. People trying to get rid of that because it didn't line up for their favor. They just completely forget like the long game here.
Well, I think what's funny is that, if you look at the way a state is called, we don't call this country like that. We don't allow California to like the entire country to be red and then California be blue. So then we're blue. We don't allow that.
No. But that's why the electoral college it matters.
But it's not like that in counties, right? It's not like electoral votes in counties, right? It's like either win it or lose it, right? It's just by numbers. Yeah.
So the reason why, here's an example of why electoral college matters, right? For those of you who are listening who don't.
Yeah, really tell me.
So when I was working at the Postal Service, we were part of the union, and I don't remember how often, I think it was like every 2 years or something, we'd have an election for our president of the union. Okay. And we would base our election usually on how that president fought for us. Like, did they get our grievances and all these other things? Like, did they represent us well in negotiations and for contracts and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. Well, we had a president that would always take our grievances from our particular building and use those as negotiations for other buildings. So we would find out that our grievance, even though we were 100% correct and we were owed money or whatever it might be, it got thrown out by our president because he was negotiating with another facility. So, in other words, he told the management, hey, if you give me this one, then I'll throw out these other ones.
Yeah.
And so he would throw out ours and we would get all pissed off.
Yeah.
But the reason why he would throw out ours is because our building, even if every single person in our building voted against him, he would still win because he had the other buildings that had more people in them. Right. So we just didn't matter because they had more people in their buildings. So he basically, we just, whatever he wanted, that he got because of them. And that is what would happen in the United States. Basically, if you don't live in LA, New York, Miami, whatever, then you just don't matter. And they would never go out and campaign to you. They would never, because who cares? Even if every single one of you voted against me, as long as I get these big cities, I win. So I'm going to do whatever it is that they want to do and screw you. That's why the electoral college matters. Because in Iowa, you matter because you've got votes. You've got electoral college votes that he needs.
But the state, a lot of the state doesn't matter. It seems like just the main cities matter. That's my problem with the state itself.
Well, it depends on who comes out, right? I mean, if the entire rural area, everybody comes out and votes, but only half the people in the big city come out and votes, then the rural can win. Which, for instance, in Florida looks like it's going to be a Republican state, even though if you look at the little blue dots, it's Miami, Orlando, they're big cities.
Yeah, those are the blue.
But there's so many other people who did come out and actually voted, so their vote counts. Yeah. Without the electoral college type thing, it wouldn't matter. That's what happens. Right. It's like in your neighborhood, right? Like, if your HOA got to decide things and the guy down the street of the house, because he's got his entire family tree living with him,
right,
they got more votes and your house always lost, you'd be pretty pissed off. You'd be like, hold up, bro, my house is just as big as his. Why does he get more votes? Well, because he's got 30 people in there. Right. Well, because he has, that's not my fault.
Right.
That's why the electoral college matters. And people only want to get rid of it because, their team didn't win. It's like, we'll stop. Right? Like, why do we say our founding fathers were so brilliant and so smart until we don't agree with something? Like, you can't say that they're so smart and they thought of everything until something doesn't go your way. Then all of a sudden they got this one wrong. What's more likely? They got all this other stuff right for hundreds of years, but got this one wrong, or that you, who know nothing about any of it, is right. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's just be smart here, man. They got it right, dude. You just don't agree with it. But so I don't. This notion of getting rid of electoral college is it's ludicrous to me. It's short-sighted people who have no idea what to do with themselves.
Well, that's not on the ballot.
No.
That's but you're right. They like the pop vote. They like the popular vote.
Yeah, and it's like, No, dude. I don't know. Like in my, I don't think Miami should, or I don't think LA should count more than Orlando. I don't think California should count more for Florida, right? Because we offer just as much. Granted, there's more people in California now. Granted, not every single human being in California is red. So like our vote matters. Like what we want matters. We still pay taxes. We still live in this damn state. So this notion that they should win because they have more people every single time, that would be bad. Because I can see that causing a lot of other problems. Because there are these crazy people out there that can be like, oh, well, I know how to make sure I know how to make less people in that state. Like you got to be very careful when you start getting into that.
Ooh.
Not to mention, come on, like people wouldn't do it. And then not only that, but you also got to remember too, this notion that you get to see your political people and they care about your vote and you get to write your congressman. Well, that's because your vote counts. But what if your vote didn't count? Do you think your congressman gives a shit what you have to say?
Oh, no.
If your vote didn't count, he knew no matter what, even if your entire area voted against him, he'd still win. I can tell you from personal experience, when I was in the union, you don't matter. He doesn't give a shit. You think he's going to do it because he's a nice guy? No, he wants to win. So he's going to talk to whoever's going to help him win. Yeah. And if you can't help him win, then you mean nothing to them, which is why you got to keep the electoral college. This popularity thing, it only works if you're on a winning team.
Message.
It's all fun.
It's brought to you, kids. He's throwing down some education.
They don't think, man. That's the thing that I don't like right now about the blue side is they're all up in their feels, dude. It's all emotional. It's all feeling based.
It's definitely all emotional right now.
It's like, dude, I get it. It hurts, but like you can't cut your nose off to spite your face, man. There's got to be some reality, some rational thought here as well. Like the whole notion, the reason why they passed that bill in California was because they're afraid that if you have these crazy psychotic parents at the home, they find out that you're coming out as gay or trans or whatever, then you're going to go home to an unsafe environment. I get that. But that's why we have laws and we have things in place that you can't abuse your children and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you take away my right to be a parent. Like, no, dude. Like you can't. Yes, it sucks for poor little Timmy who goes home and gets beat because he's gay. Like, I'm sorry, that sucks. And that's why we have laws and that's why we have DCF and things of that nature. But that doesn't mean I should have the right taken away from me to know what my child is going through when I'm not around.
Right.
Like, not cool.
No law is going to change someone's opinion on certain issues. You're allowed to disagree.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I get the feelings part of it, man, but you got to balance the feeling with some rational thought, dude, like some accountability. But I just, like I said, they don't speak for me at this moment.
Well, they don't speak for me either. But I tell you what, man. Look, we've had this discussion. We're having this discussion. We're gonna have more of a discussion. Look, it's gonna be a long night. Buckle down, kids. Keep watching the TV in between and whatever you're watching. Tune back into us if you want. But I think we've done about as much as we can do on this subject for now. We had thanks to Scott Sturgill. Again, for coming on with us earlier. Thanks to Dr. Neil Weeder for coming on with us earlier. What are you laughing about?
Neil Weeder giving that little parting shot about how Scott only got a certain amount of votes when he ran. Like that was good, dude. That was a low blow, but it was good. I didn't think he had it in him. That was
you got to respect the game, right? Respect the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. But thanks to them for coming on and taking the questions and presenting for their party. Again, their views and opinions are theirs of theirs, not of the party in general, but we used it as if they were representing their party because they are people that, one says he's Democrat, the other one says he's Republican. So we asked them questions that we felt were relevant. Whatever you are, bless you. You're allowed to have it. You're allowed to have whatever opinion you have. We respect it. We just happen to be in the middle. But on this time voting around, I think Trinity and I said it. We both are voting with the Republicans this time as far as for presidency. That was our choice for our own reasons. And if you heard the show, you heard our reasons. If you disagree with that, I apologize to yourself for having such a mind to be upset at how I voted. Next time, maybe you'll be involved with electing a candidate next time, and maybe your party will allow you to vote for somebody and put them up, and then bring us a different candidate and maybe put a platform together on some ideas that will help us stay, for me, financially strong. That's what I care about. So, put that up. talking about someone's morals, that doesn't do it for me. I don't know the morals of my banker. I just want my bank to not screw my money up. To be honest with you, whoever manages my mutual funds, I really don't care what a good person they are, as long as they manage my mutual fund account the way they do it. The morals is not how I vote. That doesn't move my needle. And you said it's your body, your choice. So guess what? I don't vote in that direction either. I will do that on a local level, which is what I'm hearing, what I tried to do. And it appears that Trinity, we did not get 60% yet on the abortion thing here in Florida. So that may be an issue. That will be a problem for us. Marijuana didn't win, and I don't think abortion is going to win either, unfortunately. So it only got so far 57%.
It literally just switched right when I turned it on. It switched to a no.
Yeah,
it was projected to be yes, like literally 3 minutes ago, and now it's projected to be no.
You got to get 60% in one. And people, this is what voting is about, man. Turn out and vote. Local elections matter a hell of a lot more than federal elections.
The abortion one, I'm not that surprised that it didn't pass. I think that one could have gone either way. The weed one, I am 100% shocked that did not pass.
Yeah, we'll see how this all plays out in our lives. People, just if some of you want to move out of the country tomorrow, like Le'Veon Bell says, that if Kamala Harris wins, he's going to move. I'll see you later, Le'Veon.
Bye.
I don't.
You'll be back.
Yeah.
Once you realize how great we are, you'll be back.
Exactly. But if you're done with us, we're done for the moment. Trinity, you got any last parting words, parting shots, anything?
Yeah, actually, I would say that regardless of who wins tonight, man, like, grow up. You know what I mean? Like have some rationale to yourself, man. Like, one, just like you are not the worst thing you've ever done in your entire life, you're also not who you voted for, dude. Like, stop it. That's one aspect of who I am. That's literally, it took me 12 seconds, I think 15 seconds to fill out the little ballot, maybe more. Let's say it took me 5 minutes. 5 minutes of an action does not sum up my entire 40 some odd years of life, dude. So, and neither does it you or anybody else out there watching. So you are not the party you voted for. You are not whoever wins or doesn't win. That doesn't say anything about you other than that's who you pulled the lever for.
Don't lose your friends and family over that, because those politicians that you voted for, they won't lose their friends and family over you.
No.
So that's not the way it should work. Love each other. We should still be united. This is the United States of America. Let's take this a learning lesson. If you don't like what's happening right now, maybe you should become a politician and you get up there and you do it. And that's, like, put your money where your mouth is, stuff like that. But until then, people, please continue to be nice. Be nice to each other. Don't defriend somebody just because of this bullshit. Adios, amigos. Time for a taco. Goodbye. Good luck.